ASMR.
People are going to lose their minds. Hold on, ready?
If they hear that.
Going live.
Chapters right here. I'm trying to find them on my
Yeah, just
phone.
read them.
Read the
Just
book.
bonus?
Oh, who gave me that? I forgot someone gave me that. You know who I think gave me this? I don't even want to say. Don't remember who gave me this. This is wild.
I think I know.
Including
I
world.
think I know too.
Yeah, probably.
I saw
Who
a.
is that?
It's Ollivander.
Who?
Ollivander.
Oh,
Garrick Ollivander.
Does each of your books have a special?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember that.
it's pretty good. Vanilla caramel.
Smells good.
Huh?
Vanilla caramel try. Now that is some ASMR in there.
The video I sent you guys. Are you on Instagram still or no?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I sent them a picture of a guy that had like his mouth was like this. It was like or something, and it was a guy that was like every time Draco was about to say
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, Potter, yeah.
There's one with like a vegetable, and it's like a gourd, and the gourd is like.
Oh
like,
yeah, I've seen that
it
one.
looks like a butthole. And it just goes every time Draco's gonna say Potter.
It's so good.
Honestly, I thought
Hermione
I
does
Chris
some
was
like
in this
crazy stuff with her mouth too. She just opens her mouth
Yeah.
really wide when
Yeah,
she
yeah.
talks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't. Well, I don't remember. I haven't seen it.
Actually.
Oculus Reparo.
Yeah.
Oculus.
Okay, so everyone, for anyone watching the live stream too, we are gonna do this entire book today. The episodes for season 3 are gonna be a little shorter because we're not doing full deep dives. We might do deep dives later on in the books with Eric, but we're gonna just do 5 chapter chunks. So it's gonna be 5 chapters, and then 4 chapters, 4 chapters, 4 chapters. So we might take breathers in between each actual podcast here. So that's the name of the game there. And then this is a side note, you guys don't even have to listen to this. But we are actually, if you guys want to participate, that'd be kind of fun. We're starting Harry Potter book clubs, and we already have one put together. And if you want to join a Harry Potter book club, it is $5. It's for our membership on YouTube. So become a member of our YouTube channel. And the first one is happening tomorrow night. But that's like the first book club is kind of closed. There's like 15 people that are in that one. And then if you want to join, we're just going to wait every 10 members we get. We're going to start another book club where we kind of just sit and read a chapter at a time and discuss it. You guys want to do that?
Nice.
That's
I
like
like
for
it.
uber nerds. We're calling them, you guys will like this, we're calling them newt levels because it's like the upper levels of Harry Potter nerds sitting
it.
back and discussing Harry Potter. So if you want, become a member of the channel and you can participate in our book clubs. Just $5 a month. That's it. That's all.
That's it.
It's our commercial.
What qualifies you as a newt?
You'll see.
Because I don't think I qualify as that.
No, you do
I
not
kind of
qualify as a
want
newt.
to be a
No.
newt.
You're a first year.
I'm a newt lord.
Yeah, someone says we should be called the nudists.
Oh,
Kinda like-
pretty good.
The
That was
newt.
quick.
Nudists.
I love that.
This is dangerous.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
You can. It's some relatively stable behind you, but it's kind of annoying if it's behind you. But I don't care. You could spill it.
Just dump it out.
Wes eats he usually has a peanut butter bone right on that, so there's like meshes of peanut butter on the couch over there. It's pretty gross. So
Maybe I should be sitting there in case my water breaks.
everyone who's watching the stream, you saw Danny and Jen start dating. You saw them get engaged. You saw them get married. Now we're gonna witness a birth on stream.
Live.
At any moment, it could
That'd be
happen.
my
Liz's
first
water
delivery.
could break literally at any moment. She is,
That'd be great.
yeah, you're
if
due
I
in
start
less than a week.
twitching,
Yeah.
you guys know why.
I'm gonna start pouring water over here. No one knows it's me. We think it's Liz.
If the couch changes shades of color, you know.
If I just get up and run.
Yeah. All right, Eric, we are on the first podcast of Sorcerer's Stone, and I just want to know, how you liked the whole book.
I really liked the book. I think so. I've seen the movie, right? So I was like reading it. I was like, okay, like things were starting to come back a little bit. So it made more sense to me. But then as I kept reading, I was like, oh yeah, like there was some chapters I was kind of just like, okay, like let's move this along a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also like I've heard rumors of like the books get good. Some of them aren't the best compared to this book. And I thought this one was great.
Oh, some people say this one isn't the best?
No, like I hear people say this is the best, and like books to come are like up and down. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought this one was great.
Who have you talked to?
Yeah.
Who are your sources?
I thought this was great.
No, I feel
was-
like you're off to a good start if you think the first one is great.
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. I mean, I was in every single time I was
Imagine
listening to it.
Eric hates every book. He only liked the
You
first
love the
one.
first one. The rest of them were crap.
Wow, that'd be a good plot twist. I should do that. That'd be
No,
great.
it wouldn't be a good.
No, I thought this one was really good. I was engaged the whole time. There was definitely parts where I had to like, so I listened on.
Re-listen.
Yeah, I had to like go back
Yeah.
and like re-listen to it because I was like, I didn't fully understand it or something. But I really, overall, like everything made perfect sense. Is like the way the story was going. I loved that. That was great.
Yeah.
I feel like I was one with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm so excited for you to keep going because that's Sorcerer's Stone is my second least favorite book.
Really?
I think it's boring compared to the other ones. And I would say 95% of the people who are on our channel would probably agree that the first two books are the most boring, and then it gets so much better.
Really?
At book 3.
Wow.
So you're in for a treat.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I don't want to build it
excited.
up, but
I still want to know who the people are that you talk to.
yeah, who are your sources?
And I want to go
Just
after
really
them.
tell us.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Come over here.
I think that when you read the first one for the first time, it's different than when you go
Yeah.
back and reread the books.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember feeling the same way, like, oh, that was like really good. I really enjoyed that. And then when you get to the other ones, you're like, oh, these are like great.
Yeah. Agreed.
But
And I think for a first time read too, like the first one does kind of catch you by surprise because it's like cult status how good these books are, and you read the first one and sometimes your expectations are like, it can't be that good, and you read it and you're like, oh wow, this is actually really entertaining. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And they just get really
Yeah, that's the thing I think with this book. I mean, every chapter, like it was cool seeing like, which I think is a little bit different from the movie. The start of this book is a little bit different
Yeah,
from the movie, right?
it is. I actually forgot that because I've watched the movies more recently than I've read the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it starts
I,
different.
that's why I was like, it's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So let's actually get into that. What is the first chapter in the books? How does that compare to the movie?
What do you remember?
Like, give me a quick summary of the first chapter, because the differences that you're probably talking about are you spend a day in Vernon Dursley's shoes. So like you go to work with him. He has like
Yeah, that's
a
chapter
whole
one,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's like
Yeah.
seeing all these weird things happening, and
Yeah.
you don't get any of that in the movies. In the movies, you just get the street.
Right. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know what the difference would really be from the movie to the book, but that's the part that I thought was a little bit different. And then I'm trying to remember.
Well, because in the movies, you start like right in their house.
Yeah.
There's no like backstory or like context to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Yep.
Well, in the book, is there multiple cats in the book in the first chapter? I don't remember.
There's
just
just
one,
one,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Eric found 4 cats.
I
In
did.
the first chapter.
I don't know what book you guys read, but there was 4 in
Yeah,
this
that's what I was
book.
saying. Are we sure he read the right one?
Yeah. So chapter 1 is Vernon Dursley's like perspective, right? So he was going to work. That's where he started to see like all like the weird things happening.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, boom, Harry Potter.
He's brought into the
appeared.
world. I know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't want to
No, because
go too more into it because I don't know if it was chapter 1 or chapter 2. Fun fact, especially for you guys and people watching, I have a hard time remembering some things
and
and like the details of things. So I will I don't know if it's specifically in that chapter. If there are other chapters, everything kind of meshes to one
So,
for me. So.
Eric's gonna read the first book again next week, and it's gonna be a whole first time read again. He's gonna forget everything.
This isn't even a podcast on Harry Potter. It's a podcast on Eric's, short-term memory loss.
It's helping me grow.
It's like a psychological experiment right now.
Here.
There's a really great first line that depicts who Vernon is really well. It says he hurried to his car and set off home. He was hoping he was imagining things, which he had never hoped before because he didn't approve of imagination. And I think that gives a really good depiction of Vernon. But what was your initial impression of the Dursleys? And what was your initial impression of Dumbledore, McGonagall, and Hagrid, these people who kind of came into the story?
Me specifically?
Yeah, or, I mean, you guys just filter in anytime.
Perspective of... So this is where I think I'm a little bit tainted in that because I've seen the movies.
Yeah.
So I automatically think of the Dursleys as being like nasty people, right?
Yeah.
Vernon, I think he's initial impression that man is a hardworking man who doesn't have time for his family. And that's why he's stressed and he's angry all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time for his family?
I think he probably has too much time for his family. I don't think he likes being home. I don't know if he truly loves his wife.
We're getting deep.
Wow. Okay. Let's break that down.
Yeah. Because why would they be angry? I mean, unless...
That's a great question. Why are the Dursleys angry?
That's what I'm saying.
Just because
they seem
Harry
like they've got
exists.
Yeah.
they're angry.
But this was before
They even
Harry's
have
even
that's
introduced.
True.
But-
That's true.
I think the question is, are they angry with each other? Because I'll ask that question. Are they angry with each other?
Is he angry in Vernon Dursley's eyes? Or because he seems sometimes to take joy out of it. Remember that one scene where he sits down at his desk and he had a great afternoon because he, got like a bun from across the street and he yelled at a few people.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great day for him. So he relishes in being a jerk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But does he love his wife?
They
Wow,
just-
getting real deep on the first chapter.
Oh.
They just seem to me like very American British people. Like they're like,
American British
I
people.
don't think they just need they're greedy and they just want accomplishments and they want to be the best at everything. And they want their family to be the best, but they don't want anything to interfere with that.
Either that or is it their son that's driving them crazy?
Well, he's just like a baby at this point, right? Are we talking about the
Is he?
beginning
Yeah.
or just like
He's
in
a baby
general?
at this point.
He's a baby because
The first chapter? What book did you read?
I'm telling you, this version's different. No, you're right.
He's like a 1-year-old in the,
Right,
in the
yeah,
first
yeah.
book, in the first
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Mark?
It's gone. Oh, I remember what I was saying. I was trying to, because I think reading through this time, I've been trying to like figure out, like Eric said, there is our minds have been skewed by the movies a little bit, right? So like I was thinking through like, man, what is the perspective here? Because like I go into it and we are team Harry, right? We're team Hogwarts or team all that, and we know what to expect. So I think about it like, all right, this was an estranged family who this unfortunate thing happened, and now they've inherited a child that they didn't want, right? So it's like they are like from a lifestyle they hate, right? So it's interesting to think like, okay, like you said, there is a perspective that he is just an unhappy person and he gets joy out of like terrible things. And I think that's what they wanted. Like that's the portrayal they want. But in terms of Harry, it's like this is like a strange relationship, receiving a child that they didn't intend to ever have. They never probably intended to see or meet, right? So it's interesting thinking about it from that.
Thinking about it from the Muggles' point of view, where if the books were rewritten from their perspective, a child that you don't really want just arrives on your doorstep, and then you have to take care of this child for the rest of its life, which is, it's like a huge responsibility. So they were a little angry, I guess, before that, but this probably makes them more angry because they seem to get more angry in the next chapter.
I think the only reason like I'm thinking of that because like we're obviously in that stage where it's like, well, if something happened to us, where would our child go?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of, when I was reading it, like that I think was a new perspective I never thought of. Like, okay. But not to justify how they treated him or anything.
Or like you guys have a child and someone drops another child off at your doorstep.
Right.
Did they ever talk about, did the Dursleys like have a relationship with Harry's parents?
They do talk about that in the books
Like, did
later.
they like get together for holiday gatherings?
Oh, yeah.
Because the reason I think about it is Vernon like knew that they were witches and wizards.
Yeah.
Which like, why would his wife tell him that if she was so embarrassed about it? If she was estranged from I don't think they were estranged from each other. I think they had some kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Although he like can't remember his name. So
they're estranged, but I guess in some way. What were you gonna say?
It's Mrs. Dursley is related, right? That's the
so that's his.
So she seems to be. I mean, from what I've read so far about Mrs. Potter, she seems to be a very nice person. So Mrs. if they're a very nice person, then how? I just don't know what the disconnect would be between her
because she
and
was
Mrs.
a witch.
Dursley.
So she thought she was like a weirdo, like a freak.
Do you think Petunia could be a witch? Because how does a witch pop up? Like, why is Mrs. Potter, as you say, a witch, and Petunia is not a witch?
I don't know.
Or is Petunia a witch? Is that part of the plot?
I don't know. I don't know. Does it say that? Like as books go on?
We're going to talk about all that stuff. It might pop up in the books. We'll see. I'm not going to give any spoilers because you literally forgot half the stuff. So this is like your first time reader. So
what do you mean? I forgot half the stuff.
It's like 50
More than
first
half the
dates,
stuff.
though. We could do this every year with Eric, and he would forget everything. He'd be like, wait, what?
Dang.
So McGonagall is able to transform into a cat. If you could transform into any animal, what would you want to transform into?
Platypus.
All right.
Is that for real?
That was so quick.
That was really quick.
Yeah, I've been asked this question before.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not transform, but like,
Yeah. What animal would you want to
what
be?
animal would you want to be?
Yeah. Do you guys have an answer for that one?
Something that could fly, probably. Maybe like an eagle.
Ooh.
I was gonna go grizzly bear.
Really?
Basic.
Grizzly. What? Grizzly bear's basic. Grizzly bear would be sweet.
Yeah, but everyone's like, oh,
I would
be a lion
straight up
or-
destroy your platypus, bro.
I could go
rip you.
swim in the water,
So can I.
but I could also get on land and.
So can I.
Hey, Mark, understand.
It's like you can get on land like that's a novel thing for a grizzly bear.
Understand.
Bro, people come to see my grizzly bear in action. They come see me catch salmon straight out. They jump, whoosh, snatch, done. You
Yeah,
think I'm
but a
slow?
platypus
No.
goes deep.
Where?
You mean
Where do platypuses live?
That's a great
Platypi?
question.
Is the plural platypi?
Yeah, refer to me correctly. Platypi.
Although to be honest, like being a cat would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
They just like roam.
Yeah.
They eat.
They just, yeah. They
So
just
do bears.
They lay in the sun.
I don't understand. Everybody's saying all these things about their animals. Bears do them all this too.
And they can destroy all their prey.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm a nice person, so I don't destroy my prey.
Straight up check the platypus straight across the woods.
Not if you're Perry. If you're Perry the platypus, it's over.
Yeah, I feel like a bear would be kind of fun. I would probably do a badger. I like badgers. Fierce. They'd probably take down a bear and a platypus and an eagle. So take that, guys.
That's deep.
Take that.
That's deep.
All right, back to Harry Potter. Eric, why couldn't Voldemort kill Harry?
Jeez. I feel like these questions are gonna just put me on blast because I don't remember.
Well, some of these questions you're not supposed to know
that's,
yet.
Yeah, you don't know. I'm not grilling you on. It's not a test. I'm grilling you on what's your theories on
It's like
this.
a pre-test.
Yeah.
This is a test.
Because you don't know the answer yet.
Yeah, you don't know the answer to this question.
Wait, so what's the question again?
Why could Voldemort not kill Harry? What happened?
I'm supposed to give you what I'm thinking it would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know at this point.
So, obviously, in this book, you're only introduced to Voldemort a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not too much. But maybe he was a very nice guy at the time. Oh, no. No. I was trying to get too deep, but I was like, no, he just killed the parents. So it's okay.
Well, he was murdering them. He was very nice.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he's a child guy. I don't know. But I want to say because like the Potters are like, I guess you can say like the chosen family in a sense, right? So maybe because he's the offspring of those people, the legends of the Potters has to go on. So he's like unbeatable. But Voldemort doesn't know that. Neither do we know that.
Why is he unbeatable though?
Because he has what both of his parents had.
Which is?
Well, they're both wizards, but like
this is like the essay where you just keep circling.
This is where I type words and then I highlight it white so you can't see it on the paper.
But so he's just like his parents have magic, so
yes.
But why? Like, there's all sorts of magical parents who have a magical child, but is every child like Harry? Like they can't be defeated by magic?
So he's like the chosen one then.
Okay.
That's I don't know. I don't know what else there would really be to that.
It's the chosen one.
The chosen one, yeah. We'll come back to this question because this question is gonna be ever present. Why couldn't he kill him?
I'm gonna go home and Google it.
No,
don't
do not Google anything.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia.
What else? Anything else that was shocking to you about the first chapter? That you were like, oh wow, this is like a cool part, or anything else that you liked?
No, I love Hagrid right away.
Oh yeah,
riding on his flying motorcycle.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, there really wasn't anything like. I feel like this chapter was more of like, again, like the introduction type of thing. And since I've seen the movies, I knew like what to kind of expect. Like, all right, I have a weird mind. Like I remember certain things specifically, and there's other things I don't really remember that I should remember.
Okay, like.
I'm just talking about like in general.
Okay.
So like in I don't know if it's in this chapter, maybe it's another chapter, but that's what I'm saying. Like with this chapter, there wasn't really anything that was like too crazy to me. It was more of just like
it was just the intro for everything.
Intro, yeah.
Yep.
Which kind of laid everything out too, which was great and helped a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, no, there wasn't anything that besides Hagrid coming in on his.
So for the next chapter, chapter 2, it's the Vanishing Glass. Mm-hmm. What happens? Give me a quick summary of that chapter.
You want the quick summary? So Vanishing Glass gives it right away.
There you go. Yeah.
They go.
There's some glass that vanishes.
They go to the museum or zoo. Zoo, not museum. And basically Harry, this is where he discovers that like there's something different about him. Mm-hmm. Right? He is the chosen one. So he's at the zoo and Dudley's trying to get this snake to do stuff and it doesn't do anything. And then Harry goes up and he's talking to the snake. And the snake's responding to him and he's just like, what's going on? And then Dudley comes over and shoves him to the ground and he looks up at him and he's just looking at him. And then all of a sudden the glass vanishes. And then the snake gets out and then the Dursleys are freaking out. Then everyone's freaking out. And then...
That's great.
Yeah.
Good summary.
Yeah. Vanishing glass.
What do you think about Harry being able to talk to snakes?
I think it's awesome.
Do you think every wizard can do that?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, because you've read the whole entire first book. So
you talking about snakes specifically or just animals?
Yeah, snakes specifically or animals. Like, do you think that there's different wizards who can talk to different animals?
Yeah, I think so. Because if once we get later into it, you have the dragon.
Yeah.
Right.
Is Hagrid like a dragon whisperer?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think there's definitely people who can talk to animals.
Yeah.
I would think. Why would Harry be the only one that could talk to an animal?
He's the chosen one.
He is the chosen one. But come on. You can definitely talk. If I was a wizard, I'd be talking to animals.
What are your first thoughts on Harry, though? So this is kind of where you're first introduced to Harry, really, as like he's a 10-year-old kid right now. What do you think of him?
I think he has no idea what his background is or his history. Right? Mm-hmm. I feel like he also... He hasn't known anything besides the Dursleys, so like I don't know. He's very, in my opinion, he's very humble. He's very quiet and to himself. I think I don't think he gets angry quickly.
Yeah,
he's very patient.
Yeah, it's like how to be patient.
So it's like I wonder if it's like,
how do you guys actually like Harry in the first book? Like rereading this one.
Book?
Very different than the other books.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think in the first book you like feel bad for him. You're like, this kid
Yeah.
has had like no happy experiences in his life.
Mm-hmm.
His whole life has just been surviving, essentially.
Yeah. I don't want to get too far ahead because we're not in that chapter yet. But yeah, he's I forgot. There's like little details that I forgot from the first time I read it. So like when I'm reading through, it's really interesting. Like I loved just when, so like obviously when he's going to the zoo and like you're finding out these little things about him. He's like, all these odd things happen to me all the time. I loved that they talked about how like his aunt would cut his hair because it'd get too long and he'd come home and it'd be all regrown. And I'm like, man, these little things you forget about. I'm like, oh, I forgot that there's these little oddities that are just like they're popping up in his life and you can't figure them out. But even as we get into the further chapters, like it's funny to see him from the first couple of chapters to like a few chapters later. I feel like with book one, it's a lot of him being unsure of himself and like growing into that assurity.
He was also essentially neglected his whole life. Yeah. And like emotionally abused.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think it's funny when you read it because it's such a kid's book. So it's almost like, it almost gives me, what were those books?
Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yeah, it almost like reminds me of a series of unfortunate events in a way. Where you're like, oh, it's almost like it's dark, but it's like funny how he's treated. But then when you actually think about it, it's like he actually suffered like years of like neglect.
Yep.
So yeah, for him to turn out like decently and like obviously he did okay like academically and everything in school, but he was essentially like picked on his whole life.
Yeah.
So you feel bad for him.
He does like there's 7 books and he's going through his teen years.
Yeah.
So he goes on highs and lows throughout the entirety of the book. But the first book, he is rather resilient to everything that's happening around him. Like how he's actually able to maintain his, like even his humor in the first few chapters. Like he's a funny kid with some of the stuff that he's saying. Like when he is coming downstairs and he's about to go to Stonewall High and his aunt is like dyeing his clothes. And he's like, I didn't know we had to wear like elephant clothes, or I didn't know they had to be so wet.
Like,
that's what he said. Or something like that. Funny little line, you know. He's still a really great kid in the first few chapters. Like how is he's able to actually endure through what he went through is pretty remarkable.
I think that's something like what you just said and what you brought up. That's something I completely forgot. Like you read the story because it's a story, but you don't think about how if you were neglected or abused emotionally as a person, like how would you even respond? Yeah, you know, it's like that's something that I never even thought of while reading it, because you could be like, oh, like that could change your perspective tremendously on how he's handling the situation. Yep. So I don't know.
And so in this chapter too, magic's materializing in Harry, and you see a few different ways that it materialized. Like one time his aunt gave him a terrible haircut where he just had bangs and then his hair grew back the next day, which is pretty sweet. Another one, his cousin was chasing him and he all of a sudden ended up on the top of a roof. So he's had a few different magical moments. The vanishing glass is one. If you were a wizard but you were young and you didn't know you were a wizard yet, how would magic manifest for you? Or any of you? It's a weird question.
How would it manifest?
It's like, what's your serial killer tendency? That's that kind of question. How would the world discover you're a magician? You're a wizard.
Oh, dang, that's deep.
It's not that deep.
How would the world discover it? Yeah.
I feel like a lot
because it would have to be something that you were so filled with emotion in the moment that the magic just like happened.
Just poured out.
So it's like, what's your like?
And it's either
what sets you off.
It's either way, right? So it's moments of great joy and moments of great. And I think a lot of my teachers
wouldn't be here today.
Well,
like a lot of my teachers.
I wasn't gonna go that far. I was gonna say like poop their pants or something. That's probably a lot of diarrhea. I wished a lot of diarrhea on people.
Marks would all be bathroom related.
Yeah. Like what happens in your head that would come out? That's a hard one.
Diarrhea.
Or as another one, maybe this is a little easier of a question. Dudley gets all sorts of birthday presents. What was the best birthday gift that you ever got?
I'm about to get my best birthday gift.
Hey! Aww. Everyone
So
loves his
cute.
birthday, and she's about to give a birthday.
That's a good question.
One memorable gift I got, my whole family always tells me about it. I guess it was, I don't even know. It was these cars that like if you pulled them back and they go.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Remember
But
this?
if they had bumpers on them that like if the bumpers touched, the car would like explode, and they had like arenas you could get. And I just there was one where it was like a.
I honestly thought that's what you were gonna say about the magic coming out is when you were driving. Like you were just gonna when you get angry when somebody does something stupid on the road.
Oh
Their
man.
tires were just gonna blow up
Yeah,
or something.
I do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, I do have a whole thing with that though. I hate bad drivers.
Mark's road rage is
Yeah.
real.
I have a theory that I think, or not a theory. I have this idea that like every car should have a I call it a go button. So like if somebody cuts you off or like, I also if people like do dumb stuff on the road, I will never give them the finger. I will give them a thumbs down though, because I feel like letting them know I'm super disappointed in them is worse.
don't
hey.
you, I'm just disappointed.
Hey, just so you know,
Imagine, it actually would hurt driving by a person, someone, and they're just going.
it's like,
You just, I'm disappointed in you.
But I do feel like cars should have a go button where like as soon as someone does something dumb, you can hit it once like a month, and as soon as you hit it, like a siren goes off on your car, like a light, and on the car that you're targeting, and the cars just pull over, and you got to just hash it out. Now I know a lot of people that would turn into a physical altercation.
But you just be like, man, what's going on in your life?
Mark would just get out of the car and give him a thumbs down, and then get back in.
Yeah. I think there just needs to be a moment of like, all right, well, where are you going? And when they tell me that like they're going to the hospital for like something, I'm just like, well, sorry, I hit the go button. So
Yeah. My wife's pregnant. I have to get to the hospital. Sorry.
That's what I always
We're
say to
gonna
him
hash
when
it
someone
out.
like cuts us off. I'm like, they're rushing to the hospital.
Yeah,
Somebody in the
exactly.
car is about to get pregnant.
they're not like we were driving somewhere yesterday, and guy pulls into our lane. First off, my go button is far more sensitive these days because I have a pregnant lady in my car. But I pull him next time. I laid on the horn, and our new car horn. We got a new car because ours was not safe for children. But anyway, the horn we have on this car,
It's like a toy horn.
it's like someone's blowing a whistle. It's not even. It's so not aggressive.
That's why they sold it to you. They
yeah,
knew you had road rage,
this
and they're
guy
like,
can't handle a real.
Yeah.
It's probably good. I get over next to the guy. Guy's still looking down at his phone. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, disappointed. He got a thumbs down. But anyway, where were we?
Car,
Sorry.
your favorite toy.
Oh, favorite toy.
Christmas
Yeah. So
present.
yeah, that was one of them. I got. So yeah, I got. It came with the set that had a giant Statue of Liberty, but it was like already destroyed. It was like I don't know. But if the cars blow up like in the right spot on the toy, the face on the Statue of Liberty blows off as well with it, and like there's all these like painted on. I don't know. Whatever. It was like this little tiny toy, but I apparently freaked out. I didn't know how to. I didn't say the Statue of Liberty. I was screaming as like a 5-year-old child. The statutes of
The
Liberty.
Statues of Liberty. Yeah, it's the statutes. That's what's written on her little
So
thing. that
my
she's
whole
holding, the
family always talks about
statutes.
like that was. I freaked out. It's like, yeah.
That's so cute.
Anyway, sorry, long rant.
Mark, you can go on as many long rants as you want. I love that.
All right, who's next?
Do you think talked about snakes?
Oh, fun fact, and I think I've told Liz this before. One of my favorite parts about the movie is when the snake is leaving and he goes, "Thanks." It's one of my favorite things, and I don't know why, but I love that so much.
Well, in the books too, he's what does he say? Like he says like Brazil, here I come or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's
But he
good.
does say thanks in the book,
It says
and it
thanks in
has
the
like
books.
10 S's.
Yeah.
And as funny
In
as
Eric's
I was
head, he goes,
reading,
thanks.
in my head, that's what was going on.
It is a
They're
great
like
scene.
those little things like when they go to the zoo. It's not just Harry and Dudley.
Yeah.
he has a friend with him.
Yep.
Right.
Peter's
It's
focus.
not like
Yeah.
that in the
And I'm
movie.
just like, was it really that much more money just to throw in a friend?
Yep.
I would have done it for free.
Eric's not gonna know this yet. I can maybe say this. Okay, so I'll give you this. There is a wild fan theory out there that there's another character with double P's as their name, Piers Polkus. Some people think that Piers Polkus is the illegitimate child of another one ratty character.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
yes.
Some people think that this is the illegitimate child of a one ratty character.
That's crazy.
You'll get there.
I want to dive in.
Dobby?
I will say, I will say there are things that I am noticing. A question I have always asked was, when the first book was written, was the last book already thought of?
I always think about that.
And I am now reading through it this time. When we get to that chapter, I won't say it, but I'll bring it up because there was a specific point when reading book 1 where I was like, oh man,
know?
like she
Where she
had
was
to have
gonna go
known
with that.
because this is such a minor little thing that plays a rather significant part in a later book. So
I'm excited because you guys have to, any parts that come up like that, you guys got to interject and say that, because I love second time reads for it, and you got to figure out how to say it subtly without Eric figuring it out. But
No, I felt the same way in the first book. I'm like, there are subtle things that she didn't have to include.
Yeah.
And it seems like it was intentional, unless she just like explained the reason for it later on. But it feels too intentional.
yeah,
it's so good. All right, chapter 3 is Letters from No One. We'll go through these next 3 a little quicker. What is this chapter about?
You asking me?
Yes.
So this chapter is about Harry, I guess at this point, like getting invited to go to Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a letter, and then Mr. Dursley was throwing him out, throwing him in the fire, trying to get rid of him. And these letters just kept coming, until they finally opened it and figured out that Harry was invited to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Liz is really angry about your what you said.
She's just starting off.
She's giving birth. It's time.
This chapter, it does. Sorry, were you done?
Yes,
you are now.
Yeah.
You are now.
Too bad.
I will say it does upset me that Harry couldn't get his hands on a single.
He's the youngest seeker in a generation. He can't get a hand on a single letter. And in the movies, all the letters are falling from the rafters and the ceilings, and he's up there trying to grab one, and he can't grab one. But he's the youngest seeker of a generation.
Yeah. It's not. For me, you just want him to get it so badly. You're just like, please, come on. All of it's right there. They're coming out of every orifice of this house.
Legit, they are. And he could have been way more tactful about it. And one thing that you kind of love, and one thing that I have to remind the season 1 crew all the time of, is he is a 10-year-old kid at this moment. So he doesn't have the logic that we have as adults. Like if I get the mail and I'm in an abusive home, you tuck that letter in your pants and then you open it later in private. Right. But he's not thinking that. He's just excited to get a letter.
And he even beats himself up about it.
Yeah, exactly.
In the book. He's like, why didn't
Hindsight.
I? Yeah.
Yep.
I do think, though, this chapter is where we see a little bit of, Harry's personality coming out. Because the point of where he yells back. Yeah. He's like, that's mine type of thing.
Yep.
So now I feel like that's where we're starting to see a little bit more of
absolutely
his character coming out.
Yeah. And he does have a really good character. He's sassy at certain moments. He really, you said he's really patient, but he does lose his patience at certain moments.
Yeah. In terms of patience, I mean, he kind of just takes what's said to him and underneath or in his little cupboard underneath the stairs, he just kind of takes that too and just doesn't say anything. Which I'd be like, no.
I feel like you could really delve into this throughout all the books of why he acts the way that he does based on his childhood.
Yeah. And
there's definitely been full psychological studies on these books dissecting what Harry went through.
And I think some of it does make sense. We do see him kind of rationalize all right, well, this sucks, but at the end of the day it's better than it could be worse. I'm sure if I did do this, then it would be worse in this way.
Yeah, seriously. Why do you think the Dursleys really don't want him to go to Hogwarts? And we'll talk about this in the next chapter because that's really when he gets his acceptance letter. Because this chapter ends on a really kind of cliff note or cliffhanger. when they hear a boom at the door.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know what's happening there.
Yeah. I have questions about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do the Dursleys not want him to get this letter?
Asking me?
Yeah, or just like any of us.
I think it's interesting because I thought to myself, I was like, if for a family that hates, basically,
why wouldn't they want him
why
out?
would they not just let him go?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the weirdest thing to me.
That's my question.
Yep. It's a
Well,
fascinating one.
Vernon mentions at one point that he thought he was gonna have to pay for it. So I think that's like the initial reaction when he like doesn't want Harry to find out about it. But it doesn't fully make sense because you would think they would just want him.
Yeah, just get him out. Yeah.
Out of the house.
I don't know. Maybe because they. Oh, I mean, what if it's the fact that they love him so much?
Eric's theory is that they're actually
Next
really
question,
nice people, and so is Voldemort.
Hear me out. What if because they love him so much and they're afraid that the same thing's going to happen to him that happened to his parents, so they're trying to protect him?
I was gonna say something not what Eric said, but in a similar fashion. What if before going back to what you said, what if they really hate each other, but when Harry enters the picture, it gives them a mutual thing to hate.
Harry
Therefore,
saved their family.
He saved their marriage. So if they know,
if he's gone, their marriage is.
and
is
Dudley's
done.
going off to boarding school as well, right? It's a boarding school.
Yeah.
They're just gonna. It's private. Is it a boarding school?
I thought
know
it was
it's
a boarding school too. It might just be a private school.
I know nothing really about England, but I
English
have this
boarding,
assumption that every school in England is a
boarding
boarding school. So
Yeah,
so
we have
if you're watching from England,
we have a lot of English people who watch, and they have critiqued me so much because they're like, "You don't understand the British boarding school system." And I'm like, "No, because I wasn't raised in Great Britain. So
we were raised in an American boarding school.
So Harry is supposed to go to a public school, right? But he has a uniform still.
Yep.
So even that is different.
It is
Liz,
weird. Yeah. Public.
It's not the land of the free, home of the brave. It's the land of uniforms in public school.
That's what they call it over there.
That's what they
We're
say.
the land of the uniforms in public schools. That's what the song they sing.
I think also with the Dursleys, they just think they're gonna somehow be roped into all of the magic stuff if he goes.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think they just want to keep as far away from that as possible. Which, at this moment, you're like, why do they want that? So that's a question will keep kind of popping up. Why do they want to flee the magical world? And why they want to? They talk about this with Harry. They want to stamp it out of him.
Yeah, and it's like you said, we'll keep coming back, and it is referenced much later on down the road, but briefly.
Yeah, I'm excited to get there.
Yeah, me too. Should we just skip all the other books?
Yeah,
go right to the end.
What if you read the books backwards?
That would be wild.
It'd be rough.
It's about a teenager who's reverting back in age.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
All right, so this chapter ends by the knocking on the door, and the next chapter is called "The Keeper of the Keys." And this is is Hagrid so far your favorite character? Like up until this point in the book, did you like him the best?
I mean, he was kind of only introduced for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say, if I had to pick a favorite character, I'd probably say Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a ton of great characters other than Harry.
I mean,
the first few chapters. I
love Dudley. No, I'm just kidding.
He's the worst. But Hagrid this is one of the chapters that Hagrid gives him not like a deep dive, but like a general understanding of who he is, what happened, why he's so famous, all that kind of stuff, like what Hogwarts is, the whole thing with Voldemort and Lily and James, all that. There's a lot of information in there. It's like a huge deep dive of stuff there. But was there anything that stuck out to you in that chapter?
I think so I try to put myself in Harry Potter's shoes, right? Because if at this point Harry has like this idea, right, of things happening, like magical things are happening. So if the Keeper of the Key is like that whole chapter, right? That's when he's now going with Hagrid.
Yeah.
To like the bank and things like that.
No,
so
that's the next chapter.
This one is
they're essentially
this is where I get
like eating at like a little pub, the Leaky Cauldron, and they're talking about stuff about why Harry's so famous.
This is where I get the chapters mixed up.
So
Everything ties into.
Yeah.
for
I
me.
mean, yeah.
So even in this one, so Hagrid, I'll give you a few like little questions for this one, but so Hagrid, one thing that he says is, he talks about why Voldemort tried to kill Lily and James, or why he killed Lily and James. Do you remember, or what are your theories on as a like the actual reason why Voldemort came after Lily and James?
What was my thought?
Yeah.
They won the cup. The house cup. No, I'm just kidding.
The wizard sweepstakes, and he just wanted that.
No, I think they probably had the knowledge and the magic that they needed to potentially like either take over something that he was looking for, whether that be like Hogwarts or something else.
So it's like about a power.
That's
thing?
probably what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Hagrid also says this line. He says, something about you, Harry, stumped him that night. Hagrid doesn't really know what that is. But wow. Your stomach agrees. What do you have any theories on what really stumped Voldemort about Harry? Why, again, the question was, we asked before, why couldn't he kill him?
Any theories on that?
And we're going to get to this at the very end of the first book because Dumbledore kind of answers this at the end of the book a little bit. So we'll talk about it then. But it's a really pressing question.
I don't know.
He is the chosen one.
Yeah, you can just revert back to that one.
He's the chosen
He's
one.
the chosen one. Duh.
Theories.
So here's another one. Hagrid talks about how, like you couldn't have all these things. You couldn't like the magical world needs to be hidden because Muggles would want all their problems solved with magic. What is one thing in your life if you had to devote magic to one thing in your life? What would you devote it to?
Like to keep hidden?
Or like just
asking?
to like a mundane task that you do every day. That you're like, I don't want to do this every single day.
Okay.
So I just want magic to do this.
My job.
You can create a clone. Your clone goes to work every day. Actually, it's a great one.
That or probably getting up and like doing like my morning routine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just want to like magic that away?
Just
wake
like
up and be
brush
ready?
teeth, shower, breakfast. I can just sleep longer and just be like boom, and then just go. I guess if I was to think of like an
That'd be nice.
everyday thing, or my job, but
really a job.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
I don't know. You know, it's funny. I just started maternity leave, and I would have said like, "Oh, I don't want to work," but it's really weird not working.
Yeah.
Like I think I'd go a little too stir crazy. But I think maybe just to make like little inconveniences go away. Like not having to like have someone come in and repair the door that's broken in our basement. Just being able to like
Fix it. Yeah.
fix that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be anything like crazy and big, more just like the little minor inconveniences.
Mark would want to eliminate bad drivers.
Eliminate all
Destroyo.
Yeah, exactly. No, when I think of when I think of this question, I think of the Weasley's house, like when
The burrow.
the
The
burrow
dishes
one.
that just do themselves.
Yeah, like
the
I
best.
think of
That's
all that
what I
stuff,
was thinking
like
immediately.
everything.
That's,
just and I also, but it's funny because like I think when you watch the movies, there's an aspect of it that's like, you just do a spell and that starts happening, but as you read, and I mean this is maybe a weird take, but I know for me at least when I was thinking about that, it's like. So I think about like, it doesn't matter if I do a spell that makes my coffee in the morning. It depends on how well you do that spell. That will determine how good the coffee is, right? So like, like when you're learning about the first years doing stuff, which we're not there yet, but like they're trying to turn a match into a pin, right?
Yeah.
And it says like like Hermione was only able to do a partial match, right? And so I'm thinking like, oh man, like I could do a spell. and want my coffee a certain way, but it might not come out that way because I didn't do the spell.
Yeah.
So I think of like how well Mrs. Weasley has mastered all of those things. Like we would have to be masterful wizards and witches to really have these things disappear and do well.
I feel like I wouldn't want to be able to use magic that did like bigger things. Like I wouldn't want the power to take someone's life away.
Oh yeah,
or,
no
like,
way I can do that.
Hurt somebody or like
Yeah.
anything related to that. I would just want it to be for like little things.
Yeah, the mundane tasks.
Yeah, nothing that would like go to my head.
Someone clean my apartment,
Yeah.
once a day, and I'm good. Like, make it all tidy.
Hey.
That'd be great. We'll end the first podcast on this chapter actually, on chapter 4, and then we'll do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the next one, and there were 10. We'll see how far we get. But any last notes on the first 4 chapters?
Let me look at
The
First
best
4.
is yet to come.
I know.
Yeah.
One thing we're gonna do for each one, and we'll all answer these questions for the chunk of chapters. Give me just 2 things to start. We'll add more things as we go on. But what was your favorite moment, and who was your favorite character in the first 4 chapters?
For me?
All of you guys.
I think favorite moment for me was the vanishing glass piece, just because.
Thanks.
No, because I think that's where Harry obviously first experiences like his magic, and I just thought it was cool of how it is introduced.
Yeah.
Like the glass vanishing and the snake coming out and everyone's screaming and running, but he looks at Harry and says, "Thanks."
It is a great moment.
I just think that part's really cool. And then, what was the second question?
Favorite character.
Favorite character at this point, I'd probably say Harry.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Probably would say Hagrid for favorite character, and then just Harry finally getting some justification in his life of like, oh wait, like I really wasn't crazy this whole time, and these people are terrible to me, and somebody else is coming in and validating that.
Yes. That is really nice.
Yeah. So
Pretty much still my answer, but I like Hagrid, and I think my favorite moment was Hagrid going head to head with the Dursleys, and then letting Harry open his letter.
That is a great moment in those chapters.
But I think that goes hand in hand with justification.
Yeah. I'd probably say Hagrid is my favorite in the first 4, and mine might be the same as yours, Mark. That he comes in, he kind of gives him the information dump, but then he goes toe to toe with the Dursleys, which is just nice because they're like running away with everything, getting away with everything there. So that's a great moment. But all right, we'll do the next few chapters in a bit. But thanks for joining us on Harry Potter and the First-ish Time Readers. Really, yeah, thanks. That's how we'll end each podcast. Thanks. I love that. All right, you guys can take a breather if you want. Any bathroom breaks or anything like that. You guys can go to the bathroom anytime, but take a second and then
I will.
We'll knock out some like 5 the 5 chapters, and we'll try to knock these ones out quick.
I need these questions in advance.
Okay.
No, seriously.
No, yeah.
Because
No problem.
I don't.
Yeah.
I can't think quick enough.
Yeah, that's fine. and don't be afraid to make stuff up off the top of your head and just like sound ridiculous. That's what and I can edit any quiet space out. The live stream is different from the actual podcast. So I'm live streaming it right now, but I also have a recording going, and I will edit all the blank space, like anything stupid that we say, all that gets edited out, and then it gets to put in the finalized version. So you don't have to worry about saying anything stupid or like having blank space. We can have long moments of silence, and I'll just edit that out.
Cool.
But I'll start giving you these ahead of time. Also, I'll give you all my notes on each book, which toward the end it's like 60 pages of questions, which we won't get through all of that, I promise. And for each of these chapters, I had like 10 questions on each chapter, but we are only doing like 2 or 3 of them. Like some of the really important ones are fun ones. There's all sorts of other questions I have, but this one's like shorter podcast episodes, 30 to 40 minutes. Just knock them out,
Yeah. I'm down.
Beautiful.
Down for whatever.
You do good, Eric.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Thanks, guys.
You're doing great, buddy.
It's hard. I was saying to Mark, I was like, it's going to be hard talking about just the first book.
I know.
Without bringing anything else into it.
Yep. Which we don't like. This one is a little different. We can bring stuff up. We just have to figure out ways to do it secretively.
Yeah, so it's not like spoiler.
So it's not blatant for Eric. Like if you mention something, we should have like a cue word that like all of us understand.
Yeah.
Because if you say something in one of the texts and you just say that word, I'll probably understand what you're talking about as far as like late game stuff. I'm sure we'll all understand it.
Yeah. I forget what came to. I was thinking of something we were discussing.
I mean, like there's even like.
Oh, like his scar. Like that. I'm like, was that because of the reason, or was that just? Yes. She was like, oh, I'm just gonna make this happen, and then later she came up with the reason for why it was happening.
Yep. It's. Oh.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I'm like, I wish I knew, and I'm sure she's been interviewed on this stuff before.
The reason it's that shape is the shape of the. Ew, what is that?
I don't know.
Were you even eating?
No. Food has some crumbs.
Weird. Avada Kedavra is the shape of the lightning bolt. So when he casts it, I think you cast it like that. And so that's why
I never knew that.
Yeah, I think that's the theory.
Does it hurt him because of the relationship he has, or is like when she first writes about it?
Yeah.
Because it's in this book, right?
Yeah.
Is it just like she's like, oh, I'm just gonna have it be whenever he's near? It's gonna be like in pain because it's caused by it.
Yeah. Well, there's another theory too with even that, because like this is like the side note of it. Some people think that Dursley's mistreatment of Harry is because Harry's a Horcrux.
Interesting.
It's wrong. It's completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's not right, but it's an interesting theory on that. Yeah,
though.
because anytime they're wearing the actual Horcrux, they're mad or grumpy and they hate each other. What? And then some people say they spent so long with them that
that's
they're
pretty
actually.
wild.
I know, right?
Somebody thought about that.
I know. There's like so many interesting
like
side
stretch,
theories on it.
But at the same time.
Yes. It's still so fascinating.
Crazy.
Yeah, Crystal, we're doing the whole book live today, and we're just like, we're breaking it up for the podcast, but we're doing the entire thing live. We're gonna try to knock everything out. If we can't, or Liz is about to give birth, then we'll take a break, a long break. Eric has seen all the movies, but he does not remember any of them.
He was studying for his boards when we were watching.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he was studying, so he like doesn't remember it. We did a first podcast, and the live stream should be on YouTube of us quizzing him on things, and you can see me come to the realization that I realize he doesn't know anything about it, because this was supposed to be a second time read, and we were supposed to just like talk freely about it, and then I realized really quick that Eric doesn't know a thing about anything that happens in the series. So we're gonna treat it like a first time read. It's like a light first time read. It's like first-ish time read. Yeah. It's a first time read for Eric, but he's seen the movies. So.
Even Mark and I, we didn't read them until, like, I think I was in college. And I think he was. Oh, really? Actually, I think it was my first summer out of college that I read them.
Oh, really? So you read them like a little later.
Yeah. And then Mark, I feel like it was not that long before that he read them for the first time.
Dang. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Wild.
All right, boys, ready? Let's knock this one out. The goal for chapter chunks is like a half-hour discussion. We can go to like 40 minutes, but if we can knock the rest out quick. Not quick, but... So I'm going to try to keep things moving along. If you have anything, just make sure you like interject and say it, and then we'll keep going.
We're starting, Mark.
Yeah, this is Liz. Someone just said, "I'm loving these in-between moments when Eric walks out. We just talk freely." So we should do it. Yeah, I'm still live.
Whoever said that, you're an actual hater.
This would actually be fun. After all the in-betweens, Eric steps out for like 3 minutes, and we just have like a deep dive.
All the things we wanted to say when he was in here, and we couldn't.
That'd actually be really fun.
I'm quitting.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, I'm gonna overdo that.
Also, I've read the books. I think this is my third time reading them. I think this is Mark's second time reading them. So you don't feel bad if you don't remember things.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Your first time.
John has probably all the books memorized.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish book 1 yet. I'm 11 chapters.
The reread of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to. If we're asking you questions and you don't remember something that happens in a chapter, there's no shame. It's your first time. How the heck are you gonna remember anything your first time?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very non-detailed reader.
Yeah, it's great. That's fine.
So I don't remember the details, but there's so many things in here that mesh into, like, there's
Yeah.
You hear that on the recording?
Yeah. You couldn't even hear it. Mark's stream going during the recording.
Mark has a live stream. No, there's so many things that like I remember from different chapters that aren't the chapter we're talking about, but
it's hard to remember what happens in what
everything
chapter.
meshes in, yeah.
And then when you've seen the movies, I even had a hard time when I was reading because I was like, wait, did that happen in the like did it happen that way?
Yeah. I heard you say I was studying when we watched the movies.
Yeah.
So I didn't really
like
there's things I remember but not like
which is great.
Like from here, I remember this movie, and then all I remember is Harry and Voldemort fighting. That's all I remember.
And I'm like,
I don't know what happens after.
I don't know what the general opinion of people is, but I feel like I always recommend reading the books first.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like if you watch the movies first, it almost like ruins the books for you in a sense.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the movies, I almost regretted watching them. As terrible as that sounds, I almost wish that I hadn't.
Yes.
I wish I had reread it a few times before I watched the movies.
100%.
It takes the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
And let's start right there.
Huh?
We've already started.
Yeah, we didn't stop
Kinda,
apparently.
All over the place. Unorganized recordings.
John and I were talking about both of you when you left the room.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I forgot. We have to do our intro. So let's do that now, and then I'll splice it in for the first podcast.
Are we all gonna sing the Hogwarts?
Hogwarts,
Hogwarts, Hogwarts.
Teach us something, please.
Yeah.
Whether we
That's
be
one of like
older,
the
gray,
worst
or young
points in the
Miscavities. I know.
It's funny. I sang. Yeah.
It's different than in the book, though, right? Because they sing it in this book.
No.
I think it's a little different. They definitely have Hogwarts in there, but I feel like the words are.
It might be a little different. Check it out. That's where we're coming
I'll
up to.
find it.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Wait. So are we live? We started.
We are. I'm just
it never
running
stops.
live. We never stop.
Oh.
So we're just gonna go. It's gonna be
So
one.
everyone could just hear me go.
Yeah.
Because
you were saying.
I did not shut the door.
Oh no, you're right. That is the word. Hogwarts, Hoggy-warty Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Teach us something, please. Whether we be old and bald, is that what you say?
Oh, I said older.
Or young with scabby knees. Our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now, they're bare and full of air, dead flies, and bits of fluff. Is that the same?
I think so. About.
I wouldn't know, to be honest.
But
I
they all
never
sang them to
listened
different
past.
tunes.
Yeah, which is great.
I've never listened past the first line. So, do we even know past the first line? Anyway,
I think they sing the whole thing.
It
in
works.
The extended editions.
It works to that tune.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say good job on movies for that. You know, I do wish. Never mind, we're not there yet.
Mark's going in right now.
So great. I can't. Mark, unhinged Mark. We're gonna have a whole podcast of just unhinged Mark, where he just talks everything about Harry Potter.
All the tangents that he wants to go on, we just let him go.
Hoggy-warty, unhinged.
Hoggy-warty, unhinged. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Eric.
I am Mark.
And I'm Liz.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. So we'll do that during everyone. I'll just splice that in for the next one. But we are on the next 5. We're going to do 5 chapters for this one. We're going to try to do 5 chapters. But this is chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, Eric, can you give me a very quick summary, or anybody really? Let's all talk about this. Quick summary together of Diagon Alley, which is chapter 5.
Diagon Alley. That's where Hagrid takes Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're walking the streets
Yeah.
of walking the streets of the wizarding world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Walking the streets
I think
of the world.
I always the location of the alley, right, is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't, and again, like the wizarding world.
Wizarding
is like, again, we're not there yet, but you know, like you have to go to the special place on the special train to the special land, right? But with the alley, it's like it's in London, you know,
Yeah.
Even though they went through a special.
Are they in like a different dimension when
That's
they're in Hogwarts?
that's a fascinating question. When they're in Hogwarts, they're not in a different dimension. But there's questions
But it's
about
hidden. Like, is it just
it's
hidden by
when
magic?
Muggles look at it, they just see castle ruins, and they're not actually able to go up to it. There's lots of interferences. There's lots of issues if they try to walk up to it.
Okay.
See, I've always wondered that.
Yeah.
But so that's in the real dimension. Some people, Danny in particular, thinks it's in Loch Ness because there's the lake monster or the giant squid, and that's the Loch Ness monster.
It's also it's an interesting like time period, right?
Yeah,
so these wizards are sending owls to each other with letters.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's a time period where cell phones exist, right? In the Muggle world.
Well, a cell phone would save them so much problems.
Right.
Like computer.
So like I love that aspect of it where it's almost a little like there is modern technology, but they're not using it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love that. I love because it's almost like it throws you off a little bit because there's no mention of a cell phone or anything. So you just assume. I don't know what you assume.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah. But where Diagon Alley is in platform 9 3/4 is a fascinating question. And everyone has a slightly different reading of that. Some people do think when you walk through the platform or when you walk through the wall that you enter into a different dimension, that different dimension then takes you back through the real dimension into whereas like Northern Ireland, which is where Hogwarts is.
Because like they
or not
never mind.
But yeah.
Never mind.
Oh.
Book 2.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for book 2, everyone. Everyone knows what you're about to ask. We know what you're going to talk about, except for Eric.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But yeah, Diagon Alley to me, there's something that it's not really like any spoilers, but extendable charms. Like there's one part in one of the books where someone walks into a building and it looks small on the outside, and then it's massive. It's like this huge room. And maybe that's something with Diagon Alley. Maybe it's like a tiny little like tin can, and like you walk through it, and they expanded this tin can to be like a massive thing. So you can do that. But I don't really know how that actually operates. It could just be an alleyway.
Yeah, and I know. I want to. I don't care. I want to do some more exploring, and maybe this makes me a bad person or a bad wizard. I don't know. But I would love to do some more exploring and read a little bit more about the dark sections of the alley, the shadowy sections. What are the people back there doing? How did they end up back there? What bad decisions did they make in their youth to get there?
Yeah.
Is everyone back there a Slytherin?
I love the names of these places, like Diagon Alley is diagonally, and then you don't really know of
Diagonally.
Yeah, diagonally, and then. There's another alley called Nocturne Alley, which is nocturnally. So I like the names of them.
I didn't think of that.
It's like you just don't really think of that. But yeah, where the location is
interesting, like, because I was thinking about the leaky cauldron. I'm like, can like Muggles go into the leaky cauldron? But they don't see it. It says their eyes slid from the big bookshop on one side to the record shop on the other side, as if they couldn't see the leaky cauldron at all.
Yeah.
So it's like they can't.
Yeah.
It's not even visible to them.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because just being a witch or a wizard, I guess, gives you the ability to do it, because obviously Harry wasn't doing anything to find it. It's not like there was like a spell to like make it visible.
And yet at the same time, we know that not every witch or wizard is hiding the fact that they are a witch or wizard, because when Harry is dropped off, it says that the streets were filled with people in cloaks, and like people were. And
that's interesting too. Like, don't people question why are all these people?
You know,
the owls at the beginning, like
Comic-Con.
You could definitely like Muggles. Yeah, we would explain it as Comic-Con. We would explain it like you see a bunch of people and you're driving through a bunch of weird people dressed weirdly. You're like, oh, there's some weird convention in town, which is exactly what Vernon does. There must be some weird convention in town.
Oh yeah.
So we would explain it in some way like that, but they're not like even their wardrobe. They're not great at hiding themselves for certain things.
And again, that's an aspect of the world that's being created that I love.
Yeah,
like.
And I still think we should bring back like traveling cloaks, or like I want to start like wearing a traveling cloak around. You know,
I'm gonna start wearing an invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
That comes. I know that.
I
read the book.
Just give something away.
what's in this one?
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
ahead of myself. We're not there yet.
I read the right version.
I read the
right version.
But yeah, the Diagon Alley chapter is really, I think it's really fun. It's a good chapter. This is kind of where you're like brought into really the wizarding world. for like all the stuff that Harry has to get, all these books.
I will say, like, I get Hagrid not feeling well. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, man, I would have puked every time.
There you go.
No, we kind of are.
Are we at that chapter?
Yeah. We're this is at Gringotts.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Green Guts.
Forgot that this chapter went.
That's how they say it.
Yeah.
I just
Welcome
talked
to
about. I just got
Gringotts.
scolded for saying that the invisibility cloak it's in the book, but then I bring up Gringotts. It's literally
We're not there. Mark, come on.
Yeah.
A
lot of things happen in this
Yeah, there's a
chapter.
lot of fun things happening. Which shop out of all the ones that Harry visits would you want to go to most?
Ooh.
I think
I think I know what you are.
I would probably pick the wand shop.
Ooh, yeah, me
Reason
too.
being because I think it'd be cool to see which one like fits me
Yeah,
as a person. Is there a test for that I can
it's a
take?
great point.
Yes, there
there
is.
Because
on
I've never,
mine,
I
yeah.
haven't
It's the
taken the house
same-
test yet.
Yeah.
It's on the same website, right?
Yeah.
Pottermore.
I forget what mine is.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. Both of those.
Eric's the beak of a platypus. Just
That's
full
his
beak.
score.
It's not even. It doesn't really.
But yeah, that's
I think Liz would want to do Flourish and Blotts, right?
That's what I was gonna say.
Which one is that again? I can't remember the.
The bookstore.
Mark
yeah,
is Florian and
probably.
Fortescue's. Do you know what that is?
Is that the
Ice cream shop, baby.
I was I in my head I went to the dark alley.
What's it called? Borgin and Burke's. That's where Mark's
Yeah.
going. We don't know about that yet, but yeah,
No.
I would want to go to the wand
Ice
shop
cream
too.
shop.
What do you think? Ice cream. What do you think it means that the wand chooses wizard? Voldemort. Ollivander says that the wand chooses the wizard.
So you asked me what my thoughts are on that?
Yeah.
I think it's great because I think there's certain things like when you put on a new pair of shoes, you're like, man, these make me fast, right?
Yeah.
So like I think of it like that way, like, oh, like this wand fits me well, like it's gonna make me do things I couldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Think of like Air Jordan, like I put Jordans on, I feel like I can dunk.
Sponsor us, Air Jordan.
You know?
Yeah. Air Jordan will use.
You know, like that's what they promoted in their commercials, right? It's to make you jump higher.
Yeah.
So like I think of like that, like if a wand picked me, it's gonna make me do things that I wouldn't be able to do before. And it's the fact that it's picking me specifically means it's gonna work only for me.
Yeah, that's kind of true. That's a great point.
So no one else can use it.
And
Ooh, interesting.
you'll get I mean that's later. I love the adjectives he uses. He talks about he's like this one's springy and this one's
Yeah.
I think he says one is supple or something like
Yep.
that. So it makes you think like, oh, like when they're doing spells, like they are feeling things.
Yeah,
right?
seriously, yeah.
Like
They're feeling springiness. They're feeling like
suppleness.
suppleness.
I actually don't know if he uses that word. In my head, that was.
Are those feelings like what they feel, or is that what?
Well, it's the same.
They-
It's like what you were saying with the shoe,
Hmm.
right? Like maybe the shoe has more give to it. Maybe it has a more cushion on the bottom. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a part in this chapter where Draco says his mom is picking up his wand. I always had a question about this.
Yes, I thought this.
Do you think that Draco has the wrong wand? Because the wand chooses the wizard, so how would his mom be able to pick up Draco's own wand?
Also, there's no way that wand chose the wand chose the wand chose Ron because he has like a broken one.
Yeah,
so
he's
it
a
almost seems
hand-me-down.
like it's a hand me down.
Yeah, his is a hand-me-down.
Which explains poor kid. That's
I
why
know.
he can't do any
I know.
spells.
But in the third book, he gets his own wand, and
that's
he's
right.
able to do it a little better.
That happens. Just kidding. Probably Amazoned it.
Amazon.
No, wand Mazon.
Yeah,
Create
And
an
even
online
that,
store
like
called
if it was a
Wand Mazon.
hand me down, but if the wand chooses you, wouldn't you have that wand for life? So why would any of
Wait,
his siblings
well-
Go ahead.
have passed one on to him?
I guess it's more
Or
like.
did they just like find an old wand?
Well, again, okay, it comes kind of back to Eric. So then, does that change your opinion
So
of?
I was kind of gonna. No, it doesn't change my opinion. But what I was gonna ask is like, is the shop that Harry went to, is that for like wealthier people? I put that in air quotes because it's like, how come Ron then gets like a hand me down, but he can't like do spells very well, or like Draco, like he didn't get fitted, I guess you can say, to his wand. So it's like,
No, it's
You
not
know,
for
I
the
don't-
wealthy people. Like everyone really does go to Ollivanders. If you're super poor, you'll probably get it. Like Ron is. This is like book 2 stuff, but it's not that vital in book 2. Ron has a hand-me-down wand. So he's just poor. He probably can't afford a wand. But if you want a wand, you just go to Ollivander's. There's like maybe a few other wand makers throughout the world. Not really sure, but Ollivander's is like the one that everyone in Diagon Alley goes to. There's not like a second-hand wand shop probably in this place.
And I guess if you got a new wand, you would just get the same type of wand.
Yeah. He has a monopoly on the market, so you can go to Diagon Alley and start a wand shop and really compete with him there. Maybe you can get some business. Do you think that wand's going to be passed down? Because that was another one. Like, do you think Ron's wand is going to be powerful because it's passed down to him? Or is it really like more so the wand chooses the wizard, and if you get a new wand and that wand chooses you? Like, how would a wand that is passed down choose you?
How would it choose you?
Do you think it could? Like, maybe the question is, what's more powerful? A wand passed down from generation to generation, and then finally you get it? Or a wand that chooses you?
I think a wand that chooses you, I would say.
Okay.
But it's different because I feel like if the Potters passed down theirs to Harry, I feel like it would work.
Because they're the chosen.
Because they're the chosen ones. But I want to say, yeah, like things like generationally, right, are great. But I think if something chooses you specifically because it fits you the best, then I think there's more power to that than something that was passed down.
I like that.
Yeah. That would just be my opinion. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next chapter. The journey from platform 9 3/4. Unless you guys have anything else in that chapter. All right, for this one,
I guess the last thing I'd say is just again, you know, you can compare the movie to the book, and there's just it's two totally different things, and it's similar, but I love Harry's interaction with Malfoy.
Love that.
That is a good one
because it's such like Harry has no idea who this person is, but he's already making judgments like, I don't know if I like this person.
He knows his type, though.
He also doesn't even know who he really is still.
He's still figuring it out.
But like, he doesn't know like his name. That's what I mean. Like, he doesn't know like what his name is.
I love that Draco never finds out that he was, because he doesn't shut up. He's just talking about nonsense, right?
One of my favorite things in that chapter too, I think it's in that chapter, it might come in the next one, when Draco goes, "Where are your parents?" And Harry goes, "My parents are dead." Like, he just flat out says it. Like, no like beating around the bush. Draco's like, "Oh," and he just keeps getting fitted. I love that moment in Harry of just like bluntness. Yeah, my parents are dead. Shut up. Shut up, Draco.
That's the last thing. I just thought that was interesting because I was trying to think back to in the movies when Draco and Harry meet, which is not until much later. So
yeah. Okay, so the next chapter, they got onto the train. It's the journey from platform 9 3/4. Can you give me a quick summary? They're on the train. What happens on the train?
On the train, this is where we're introduced to the Weasley family.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
Him and Ron are hanging out together in the little cubby on the train, and that's where we also get introduced to Hermione. We got some chocolate frogs up in there. We got some cool trading cards up in there. And I think that's like the main premise of it, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't go in. That chapter doesn't go into like when they get to Hogwarts, does it?
No.
That's the next chapter.
That's the next one.
Okay.
So this is when, because you know who his two friends are. You kind of mentioned that in the very, very beginning podcast.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Ron and Hermione now that you kind of know them?
I think Ron is hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that dude so much. I think he's great. And then honestly, first impression of Hermione, I think she's a know-it-all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. She's like a very much like, I'm going to shove it in your face type of thing. Like, I know this and you don't know this.
Yeah.
But I love Ron. I think he's great.
Ron is a great character.
Yeah. He's so funny. He also kind of comes off as stupid though.
Yeah, I think a little bit. He doesn't know anything about the Muggle world really. So he does educate Harry on a few things that are like Wizarding world, or like give him like the DL on everything that's happening in the Wizarding world. But he's not the smartest tool in the shed.
Right. Yeah.
He believes everything Fred and George
have
told him.
Yeah.
Even though like, notoriously they are jokesters.
Yep. He still believes whatever they say, which is a little insane. I love. Yeah. What do you think about the rest of the Weasleys? You like Like Fred and George. Do you like Percy? Any of them?
I love the younger sister.
Oh wow.
She's a big fan of
Yeah.
my boy HP. And I was just like, wow. I was like, it's crazy that, and what you even see in like other chapters too is everyone's just like, oh, like that's Harry Potter. You know, like I think the fact that she knows it already as like a young girl, and she's just like, I want to say hi to him.
Yeah.
I want to see him, type of thing. I think it's pretty cool.
It definitely adds to the legend of Harry too. Like he's not only famous, like an old school famous, like he's like fangirl famous.
Yeah.
Like this young girl has an absolute crush on him. Like is so shocked that this person exists and is like, you know,
You're right.
she's seeing this person face to face. It's crazy.
The Justin Bieber of the Hogwarts generation.
Because she's like, Mom, can I go in the train and see him? She's like, no.
Which is I feel like that even is a very different Ginny than what we get later
in the
on.
movies.
Oh yeah.
Or even in the movies. I feel like she's different in the books than she is.
She's so different
yes.
in the movies.
Yes.
So different. It's brutal.
Yeah. I do like the brothers though, the Weasley brothers. I think they're hilarious. I think they're great.
Mrs. Weasley's like the best.
She's a gem. Absolute
so
gem.
Good.
I love that Harry asks her. He's like, "Can you help me?"
Yeah.
Like
she's just the mom.
I think that's kind of like this. Also the fact that okay, sorry.
Rant, Mark. Sorry, when we're back. Give me a second to recap this. How long did we lose it for? Everyone?
The whole time.
Yeah.
That's all I got on there.
Yeah. They cut out after that. No, I kind of monitor it, but I think we just had a little issue there.
A little hiccup. I'm just gonna keep singing too.
We're back.
Sorry. Guys, how long ago was that we had no sound? No sound, no audio. It might have been like 5 minutes.
Wow.
So everything that Mark just said was really important. We just lost all that.
That's the best part of everything we said.
All right, I think we should be all right now. Yeah, we're good. Sorry, everyone. Been 2 minutes. Okay. 3 to 4 minutes. All right, we're fine. Anyway, let's go to the next chapter because we were kind of done with that one. Unless Mark wants to completely rehash it.
All right, so no.
Actually, there's one point. There's what do you think about their pets? So Harry has.
And before we move, I have another question, real quick.
Yeah,
But keep going.
For sure. So Harry has an owl, but Ron has a pet rat, and that pet rat does something really brave, and it bites Goyle's knuckle in that chapter. So I always think that's really funny. I like that. But what do you think about their pets? Like, because you're allowed a toad, an owl, a rat, those 3 things. What would you want?
I think when they list it, it says only
Easy.
toad or owl. I remember
No.
reading that,
I
and
think
I
you're
was
right.
like, "What about the rat? Like,
Yeah.
was that even allowed?"
I think you're right, actually.
I'll see if I can find it.
Is it
It's
only
like
first
extra.
years are
Pretty
allowed
sure-
specific animals?
Yeah, but Ron's
Maybe.
the first year.
I know. I don't know.
I'll try and find it.
And
you guys continue
all right,
talking.
you answer that question. I think it's a toss up.
Owl for sure.
Owl? Yeah.
Owl,
Owl's the
yeah.
coolest one.
I mean, imagine trying to have a toad deliver a letter to
That's
All right, I'm just gonna watch this toad hop away.
That would have been back when they had like the list of the books they needed, right?
Yeah.
Let me use this.
Yeah. What was your question, Mark?
I guess it's not really a question. I guess it's more of an observation. I did not remember how much of a presence Neville has starting in this chapter. It feels like he is with them all the way through a couple of chapters. From the he keeps coming up and he has lines throughout from here until like probably 2 chapters after. Even he's a much more significant. Oh, excuse me. A much more significant. What?
What do you do?
I burped.
Burping is welcome on this podcast. We burp all the time. On this podcast, so.
It was Trader Joe's peach drink.
There you go.
Just for all of those listening.
Trader Joe's sponsor us.
Trader Joe's. Oh man, that would be the TJ's. Come on.
give us
We would test
free
all
soup.
of your
Oh my gosh, that'd
products
be the
while
best.
we're on the podcast.
I signed up
For
to be your
sure.
pumpkin taste tester. You didn't choose me. It's okay. I'll still take a small donation to mine. Anyway, I just didn't realize. I forgot how much of a, I guess, of a role he plays, or just how often he comes up.
Neville pops up a little bit more than you remember on the first read. First read is just such a secondary character, but in your second read, you're like, oh, he like has more roles here and there, you know.
Yeah.
Neville's around more. Hermione is far more annoying than she is in the movies. In the movies, I think they make you feel bad for her.
Yep, absolutely.
In the books, I'm like,
In the books, she's just flat
I was
out
like,
annoying.
you know what? I get it, man.
Yeah.
I get why they were, you know.
Mark's like, I get it. I would bully her too.
Yeah.
Probably would have.
I would have cast some diarrhea on her.
It does say owl or a cat. Or a toad.
Yeah.
It does not say rat.
Yeah. Cat, rat.
Poor
same
Ron.
I would still take a cat over a toad.
thing. Yeah, absolutely. A
A
toad.
little faster.
Well, I don't think the cats and the toads are delivering mail. I think owls are really the only thing that deliver mail.
So
but
if you have a toad or a cat, do you just not get
it
mail?
exists, yeah. No.
I really want to see a toad deliver a broom.
It got here 3 years late, but here it is.
Here's an owl carrying a cat, carrying a toad.
Yeah. All right, next chapter is the Sorting Hat, chapter 7. Give me a very quick summary of this one, all of us.
They get to Hogwarts.
There's a hat that sorts.
There's a hat that sorts them.
That's about it.
That's
Into
it.
the different.
Yeah.
I am upset. I want the hat song. There are so many songs that were not sung.
You
Really?
listen to the Jim Dale audiobook. He sings all of them.
Okay, well, I need to do that.
You think he just makes up his own? He just makes up his own tune.
I think he just makes up his own tune. They're great, though. The real question is, what house are you guys all in?
As I said earlier, I got to take that test and I got to take
Yeah.
the wand test. But I want to say I'm probably a Hufflepuff.
Probably.
That's what I would think.
I don't know. You might be a Gryffindor.
See,
Yeah, he could
now
be a
I
Gryffindor
said
too.
it the first
or
time.
Slytherin, just because he looks like Draco.
I said the first time we recorded, like, and Hagrid alludes to the Hufflepuff house as like the.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the leftover house.
they've put in. Now I will say I think it is. When he sings a song, he describes all of the attributes of each of the houses, right?
Yeah.
And so Slytherin does not have much of a description.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting.
They
But-
use any means to achieve their ends.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only description they have. Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cunning folk.
AKA, they will wish diarrhea upon everyone if that's what they have to do.
Snakes. Maybe you would be Slytherin because you like the snake.
Yeah, because you just say thanks.
I am a Ravenclaw.
And I'm a Hufflepuff.
Honestly, sometimes I thought that would be reversed, that you would be Ravenclaw and you'd be Hufflepuff.
I wanted to be a Ravenclaw when I took the test, and I kept retaking it, and I kept getting Hufflepuff. I was like, this thing is rigged. But no, I've come to appreciate the fact that I'm a Hufflepuff.
Good.
I do question some of the people. I mean, it's pretty clear cut in the book, like who's a Slytherin. Like, I feel like the way it's written, you're like, oh, okay, they're mean, so apparently they're Slytherin. But there, I will say a couple of the Gryffindors, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a whole thread about resorting every one of the Gryffindor boys and the girls too, and it all makes sense. A lot of people think Ron should be Hufflepuff. A lot of people think Harry should be Slytherin, and then Dean and all the other three boys should be in Hufflepuff too.
And I guess that the way you get around is the hat does take into account what you want,
choice,
right?
Yeah, that's interesting of how the hat actually sorts. Like, we won't break that down too much right now because that could be a really long discussion. But it sorts. What does it see? And maybe this is a question for you, all you guys. If you could figure out another way to sort, other than the hat, how would you sort people into their houses?
Maybe like an aptitude test or something.
Yeah.
Basically, what we would do to figure out
SAT.
Yeah. Or maybe they don't even sort them until the second year. Maybe they take like all their preliminary classes.
I love that,
and then see like what they're more apt to be good at.
I would have everyone play rock, paper, scissors, but dependent on, there'd be it wouldn't seem like rhyme or reason to them, but whatever they throw out there first, rock, paper, or scissors, right? That determines.
What's the last one?
Then you're in
Snape.
Slytherin.
If you refuse to participate, you're in Slytherin.
If you throw out whatever you want and you're just trying to win by any means, Slytherin.
I find it interesting that Hermione's not in Ravenclaw just because she values knowledge so much.
Yes.
Not even just because she's like knowledge, because I think she is like, she's smart. She gets like the top tiered classes. I don't necessarily think she's like the wisest in the book.
For sure.
But it's just surprising that she wouldn't have such a strong desire to be in there. But she does say like, oh, Gryffindor's the best.
Yep.
So that's why
she says Gryffindor's the best. My theory is that she was actually given the option to be in any house that she wanted to be, and she chose Gryffindor. Because she's maybe one of the most loyal characters in all the books.
Sure.
She's very ambitious.
Yeah.
She's probably one of the smartest, maybe not the wisest, but she's definitely one of the smartest in the whole books. And she's very brave. I think she got a pick of any house that she wanted, and in her head she chose Gryffindor.
Yeah, I do wish we would have gotten a little bit more insight on what the Sorting Hat spoke to the others.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you said that. I think a randomized test would actually be really fascinating as a psychological experiment. If you literally nothing made sense, and like you had a whole side school, like one year you just decided, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna split all the kids up evenly, and we're just going to say the Sorting Hat sorted these kids in the Slytherin, and see how, nature versus nurture, see how they actually interact if they're truly Slytherin. And
don't tell them what the qualifications are for getting into that.
Exactly.
We're going to put all the Hufflepuffs in Slytherin. We're going to put all the Gryffindors in Ravenclaw.
They're going to mess things up and see how it changes things.
Actually, it would be really interesting.
Yeah, I'd be
or they'd be looking around like, was I put in the smart house or was I put in the stupid house? Which one is this?
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting, Harry's big fear as he walked into... So first off, he's terrified because Ron has believed that they're going to have to fight a cave troll.
Yeah.
According to Fred George.
Ron is an idiot. And that blows my mind. Ron has tons of siblings, and they've all gone to Hogwarts and been sorted into houses with the Sorting Hat. And his brother is telling him that he has to fight a cave troll, and he believes that. And so he's like, okay, sure. We have to fight a cave troll or something. That blows my mind.
I love it. But I also love that Harry's like, because I don't think I ever comprehended the fact that, like, yeah, what if the hat says, yeah, no, like you're not in any of these houses, and you just go back home.
Yeah.
Wow. First off, it's like, obviously he is very limited in his knowledge of Hogwarts, right, Harry? So like, I don't think that's I don't think you would get invited to Hogwarts and then be sent home by the hat. but in his head, he's fearful that he's still questioning and not understanding that like he's a big deal.
Yeah.
And he is going to be a wizard.
So, Eric, why do you think that Harry almost got sorted into Slytherin? I really got to send you these questions ahead of time so you can brainstorm, but
Thanks.
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Because part of me wants to be like, oh, like maybe there's more like power in the Slytherin house, right? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what maybe I would say is like there's more like either a history of power or like there's more of a powerful house, or yeah, I mean, you look at the people who came from that house, right? Like I think Voldemort was a Slytherin,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
So you look at people like that who are another powerful people.
Yeah.
That maybe that's where it would line up with
So
that.
he just has the potential for power almost.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I mean, Harry's not a dark person.
Yeah.
But
and I will say this: Slytherin gets a bad rap. They're not the House of Dark Wizards.
Right.
They're the House of Dark Wizards because Dark Wizards are generally ambitious.
Yeah.
But they're the House of Ambition. If you're an ambitious person, you're gonna be in Slytherin.
Right.
So
also that. I mean, you look at what Harry did in the first book.
I know.
I mean, my man's the definition of ambition.
I know.
So
Agreed.
it's like,
He also broke a lot of rules.
I know
exactly.
he did.
Yeah, we come to learn Harry's a bad boy. I mean, we talked about being patient and quiet, patient and quiet and humble, and my man's becoming a bad boy.
I know he is. Absolutely. He's great though. All right, let's touch on the next two real quick. The Potions Master is chapter 8, and what is this chapter?
Potions Master.
I'll give you this one real quick. They just attend classes, and so they attend two main professors' classes. Yeah. They attend Professor Snape's and Professor McGonagall's. And I just want your general take on both of those characters. What do you think of them? How do you like them?
All of us, or
yeah, all of us, but mainly
all
you.
of us mainly.
First impression of Snape, just from what they say in the book, you automatically think he's a
scumbag.
Yeah, you think he's a.
Did you think? I mean, this is because you know the end of the book. Did you think that Snape was the main antagonist in the book, like the main bad guy in the books until the end? Who were you mainly suspicious of?
Yeah. Probably Snape.
Yeah.
They paint the whole picture that he's.
I know. Yeah.
He's a bad. I mean, then you have Draco, but like.
Yep.
That was just a constant. Like everyone. When
you just naturally hate Draco.
Yeah. But I don't actually know. Maybe I'd say Malfoy.
Really?
Maybe I'd say you think that he's like the main person that causes all the issues, but then Snape's like a close second.
Interesting.
Yeah. Professor McGonagall just sounds like he's a nut job.
She.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a nut job.
Yeah.
But also great at the same
She's
time.
very stern, but
yeah,
she's a little crazy.
Yeah.
She's another character. I think you get a different impression in the movies and in the book,
100%.
at least initially.
Yeah.
In the early books.
She is compared to Snape in the book a couple times, where they say that they said this is like just like McGonagall, Snape controls a room with very little, like everybody's quiet. Now I will say there are things that happen in Snape's classroom that play significant roles down the line.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And you don't think about it, but
yep.
Even though they're in that class and these like terrible things are happening and Harry's being targeted, he is listening.
Yep.
and he is learning.
Eric's gonna study the text again. What did I miss?
No, I'm just looking.
So that because we were talking in the car on the way up here, and I was like, it just like dawned on me. It's like, oh, it's like he learned this and this played a part here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, there's so many little things. Yeah, there's that chapter breakdown is really, really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We'll get there at the end of the book. Don't revisit anything, Eric.
Oh no, I'm not.
that's pretty much it. The only real question I had for this one was the impressions of those characters. So I think they're the two really most vital and important characters in this one.
I feel like McGonagall is the professor that I would like want on my side type of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, not like teachers don't pick favorites or like students.
Every teacher has a favorite.
Every teacher has a student,
lie.
so I feel like I would definitely suck up to McGonagall to be her favorite.
Yeah. Because if you can become McGonagall's favorite, you're good.
Right.
Top
like
tier.
Yeah.
You're good.
But Snape's a questionable guy. He's the type of person I would hate going to his class.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you had lunch and then had to go to that teacher because you know you're going to fall asleep, like that's his class.
It would make lunch miserable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just me.
Yep.
I definitely would have been Hermione in that class. Like wanting to get on his good side because he doesn't like anyone. Like I would want to prove him wrong. Like I actually know what I'm talking about.
You can like me.
And he would have hated me.
Yeah. You would have been his least favorite.
What does this tell us about Liz?
I don't know, you guys are talking about how annoying Hermione is, and I'm just reading it like this is 11-year-old Liz. You guys would have hated me. All I cared about was like doing well and achieving in school and learning.
There's one of the lines in the movie that's one of my favorites where she goes, "I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another plan that'll get us both expelled or that'll get us both killed
or worse.
Expelled.
Yeah.
Like that is Liz right there.
Yeah, literally.
All right, last chapter in this chunk, which is the midnight duel. And this is like a weird little chapter where the boys kind of have like little measuring contests over here, and they try to like have a little duel because they're offending each other. It's a funny little chapter. But they try to learn to fly in this one. Draco steals Neville's Remembrall. And then they have this little midnight duel, and they kind of get caught, and they're all in trouble here. But you kind of talked briefly about Draco. What are your general thoughts on Draco? Do you like him as a character? Do you think he's just shifty? Do you respect the evil in him?
I think he's very good at being the antagonist. He knows exactly how like to antagonize people, and he knows like he's a bully essentially. Right? Yes. So like from the start, I already can't stand him. Yeah. Like he's the type of guy that like I would definitely fight. Like if he was like if he took like something from me and then like wouldn't give it back, like he's the type of guy that like I would be very angry with.
Yeah. Do you hate him more than Dudley?
I think so. Because Dudley, I feel like you can change. Because I feel like Dudley's just a spoiled, bratty kid, whereas Draco is just hard-hearted. From what it seems.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know.
Also, there's a fear in Dudley that Draco doesn't seem to have.
He doesn't have any
He's not
fear.
at this point.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're in a duel, what character up in this point in the books would you want to have on your side, dueling with you? Who would you want as your second?
At this point,
Albus.
Yeah, other than Albus. Like what? I guess what's your tier ranking of everyone in the wizarding world right now? For how?
In terms of like the students?
Yeah, just the students. Yeah, we'll just do the students.
I'd say Hermione's probably number one.
Okay.
And I probably want her on my side.
Yeah, now you want her on your side. Before y'all were saying how you're going to bully her.
We're going to duel, absolutely. But other than that, I have no patience right now. No patience. I'd say Hermione probably knows the most.
And she's also like practically done the most out of all the kids.
Yes.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's not even like she just has like the head knowledge.
Right. So I want to say that, and then honestly, I feel like since Harry's still so new to like figuring things out, I'd probably say Draco. I feel like he'd be number 2 in terms of like wizarding knowledge, right? Then I'd probably put. I don't know if I put Ron just because Ron next and then Harry.
Yeah, that's not a bad ranking. That's
probably what I would do.
I think if Ron had been given the right circumstances, he could have been a really great wizard in the beginning.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, different resources, a better wand, more confidence in himself.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
I think he could have been really great. I think that's why he's in Gryffindor. I actually think him being in Gryffindor makes sense to me.
Yep, agreed.
Character building.
I love that he's that. I mean, it shows kind of he has a better understanding of where they're at, because when Harry and him are on their way and Harry's nervous, he's like, what's going to happen? Like, well, what makes you my second? He's like, well, if you die, you know, I can jump in. Yeah. And he's like, but nobody will die. He's like, you guys don't know enough to really hurt each other. So you just shoot some sparks at each other, you know? Yep. And I love it. I love that confidence. Like,
yeah, I know.
You guys aren't going to actually be able to do anything.
Like Ron knows what he's talking about, but he's still like not a confident person. He's like confident, but he's not. Mm-hmm. Like a very typical middle schooler. Like they look like they have all the confidence in the world, but not like nothing. No ounce of confidence in that kid.
That's just so funny. Like imagine like the middle schoolers that we work with, like being in this, no shot.
Well, I think you kind of lose perspective when you're reading that they're in like they're 11, right?
100%.
Like that's little. They're little kids. Like so we're like, you know, hyper analyzing who they are, but it's like they literally, their brains are not developed fully.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I know, that's fascinating. That's why you got to keep that in mind. Whenever we're critiquing them as characters, they're young, they're foolish, they're stupid, they're still in middle and high school. Yeah. Is what we call them in America. Yeah. So it's hard to keep that in mind because I want to critique it like a 32-year-old adult, how you make decisions as a 32-year-old adult, but that's not the truth.
A lot of it's just a reflection of their upbringing at this point.
Agreed. Yep.
And it's so, I mean, it's written perfectly for it because, you know, even when you talked about how Malfoy is like, where's your parents? And he's like, my parents are dead. And it's like this moment of like bluntness, and he just like, oh, and then carried on kind of a thing. Yeah. Like that's such a middle school thing.
Yep. As an adult, you're like, oh, right. Okay, let's talk about that. How you feeling? There's a Shane Gillis or Gillis, however you say his last name, did this whole bit. It's on TikTok all over the place, and he's like, you know, someone who's talked about, you know, someone who's been around Down syndrome, but whether how they ask the question, like if you say like I have someone in my family who has Down syndrome, you know, someone's been around it if they ask the right questions, but you know, someone hasn't been if they ask, oh really? Like, how are they doing? Yeah. You're like, you know, they haven't been around that. And he goes, well, they're doing pretty great. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones that are having a good time and out of anybody in the world right now, you know?
There's a clip of a girl who's sitting with her brother, and she goes, my brother suffers from autism. And he's like, I don't suffer from it. I just have it. But she's like trying to get like views on her video.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that. So good. I think I've seen that. It's so
He's
good.
Like, I don't suffer from it. I just have it.
All right, well, let's wrap this one up. What is your favorite character and favorite moment from this chunk of chapters?
I'd probably say in this chunk, I think I like Ron. He just is very... Well, when I feel bad for him because he's being told so many things. Yeah. But I think that what makes him so funny to me is that like he thinks all of these things are gonna happen and then nothing happens. It's all the complete opposite. But at the same time, he's very go with the flow, very much down to do whatever. And I think I really enjoy seeing how he doesn't let anything again.
I don't think so.
Kind of get to him. He just goes with it.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say probably Ron's my favorite character. And I think one of my favorite moments is when he becomes Harry's second. Or like all the Ron moments in these chapters are great. I love when he's Harry's like guide going into onto the train, like walking in with him. I love that.
So that's the thing. Like he also, although he might be a gullible person, he also took Harry in like right away. Yeah. And just like immediately was like telling him all the things and helping him out. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say Ron for sure.
Yeah. What do you guys?
Yeah, Ron's definitely my favorite. Favorite moment I think is I really did enjoy the Sorting Hat because I think you see a lot of different emotions displayed from Harry that later on change, obviously. Yeah.
We didn't talk about this, but Professor McGonagall I think is my favorite. And when she's like, "Hey, I found you a seeker," and like, did we talk about that? Is that this?
No.
Is that this chapter? But it is in this chapter.
Chunks, okay. Yeah, it's in the chunks.
And she's like, he like thinks he's getting in trouble, but then really she's like, "Hey, I found you." Like, I love that moment because I feel bad for Harry in the first book. Yeah. And it's like he finally has this almost like adult figure that believes in him.
Yeah,
And it's like,
pretty...
I don't know, it's gratifying.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
This is why I'm a Hufflepuff. Like, I feel like all of the moments that I love are like the just moments, like someone getting what they deserve. But I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, it is a good moment right there. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Thanks.
Literally, we have to do that after every single one. It's so good. All right, you guys, you want to keep going? You want to end here? We can end if you guys have stuff to do.
It's up to you guys.
Up to you guys.
We can keep knocking them out. We can go real quick through the last few chapters.
I got no
I think we
schedule. I
can
just need to
knock
get
it
more water.
I don't have a job,
have some
so
water.
Well, you do. Your son.
my job is
Sure.
incubating the child inside of me.
They actually call it incubating.
I don't know. I call it that. It feels like it. Oh, wild.
Here's like a little in between moment. All this stuff. So he says a bunch of really interesting things in like the first little class. I'm trying to find exactly what he says. Okay, so the first thing Snape asks, he says, Potter, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? It says, according to Victorian flower language, asphodel is a type of lily, meaning my regret follows you to the grave, and wormwood means absence, and also typically symbolized by bitter sorrow.
Yeah.
If you combine that meaning, he's essentially saying, Harry, I bitterly regret Lily's death.
That's crazy.
Right? Isn't that nuts?
That's wild.
Eric, get out of here.
Yeah, I find the first book so... I distinctly remember reading the first book, and I don't know if it was just because I had heard like other people talking about Harry Potter and being like, oh, Snape's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, I just from the beginning had that inclination, because they so badly wanted you to think that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I do find that's the biggest thing when you're a second time reader is his character development.
Yes.
And you're like,
it's
whoa.
so
like,
fascinating. His is so good. It's
yeah.
top tier. I love it so much.
But
yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, on the second reads, there's a lot of characters who like really they get fleshed out in their second read, and Draco's one of those. And the things that he actually goes through, his ups and downs, is really, really fascinating.
Yeah. He's actually a really interesting character too.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even say I necessarily hated him.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of a product of his environment in a sense.
Yeah, agreed. He really is just a fascinating.
And Dudley. Wait, I think, is it a deleted scene? But I think it's in the books. In like one of the final movies where Dudley like...
He says, I don't think you're a waste of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the books too.
It's in the books. Okay.
Yeah,
I hate that they
great.
deleted that from the movies.
Know.
I'm like, that would have been such a powerful moment.
I was so bummed that they deleted that from the movies. And they added something else in the movies too. Petunia in the books, all it says is she looked like she was going to say something and then just turned around and left. In the movies, they have a deleted scene
where she said she was my sister.
Yeah. You didn't just lose a mother, I lost a sister. So they added that line.
Huh. Because I don't think like when Eric was like, oh, maybe they really love him. I don't think that's true. But I do think there could have been a sense of like protecting him from it.
Yeah, agreed.
Because of what had happened to her family.
Agreed. Completely agreed. I was talking to someone about this yesterday, and that idea is really fascinating of what Lily's motives and why she thinks the way that she thinks, or Petunia's motives and why she thinks the way she thinks and why she is the way she is. She probably hates the Wizarding World so much because the Wizarding World took away her sister.
Yeah.
And she was kind of estranged from her sister before that, but like that's a really fascinating idea.
Yeah. There's so many prequels to this that could be written.
Oh yeah, so many fan fiction. There's so much fan fiction on all these things. People have done full books.
But then you wonder, like, did J.K. Rowling think of all of this writing the first book? I feel like a lot of it she thought of.
Yeah, I think she the good majority of it I think she thought of. Maybe not everything. I think she filled in a lot of things after, but I think she had like this whole framework pretty early on. All right, boys, ready? You can come in now. You can come in now.
How come we couldn't hear Eric peeing, but we could hear Mark peeing?
Because he shut the door.
Oh, Mark didn't shut the door?
Yeah, that's why Mark didn't shut the door, yeah.
You guys good in there?
They're just giggling.
Is he okay?
Is there something like rotten in my fridge or something?
What is he doing?
No, really?
Oatmeal? He's making John's oatmeal?
You can make Mark anything in my house. You can have. You can use.
Clearly he feels comfortable.
I love that. It makes me happy. I love that he's literally making
I
oatmeal.
walked in there. What are you doing? He's like, I'm making oatmeal.
With the boiling water? Is he microwaving it?
I think he's microwaving it.
Okay.
Yeah. I said give him 2 minutes.
Nice.
All right. Wait, what chapter did we just finish? What was our last
9. So we're going to do 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to speed through these. And
one?
then
12, 13.
14, 15, 16, 17. And let's try to make these a little quicker.
If Mark's not here, they'll go really quick.
I know. All right, let me tell you a story about this.
But wait, before I tell that story, I'll tell another story.
But they're so entertaining, though. You want to keep all of that in the podcast because
Love
it's
you.
so you see Mark's mind working.
That's how
It's
his
the
mind
best. He's in pain right now, hitting himself.
Wait, Eric, do you remember? Do you know the romances between any of the characters? Because sometimes I want to say things and then I'm like, he might not know.
Is this good news or is this just for us?
That is just for Wes, but I don't double dip, so it's just a thing of peanut butter.
No, save it for Wes, Mark. Don't use up his peanut butter.
I want to say there was something between Harry and Hermione, then that doesn't work out, and then she ends up with Ron, right? Something like that. Well, actually, don't
I'm not going to tell you. I was just, for reference, wanted to know before I say
And then I heard that they're Dumbledore and McGonagall. No, I'm just kidding. I never heard that.
What?
How great would that be?
I wasn't sure if you were serious or not. I'm like, I'm just going to let him believe this because then we're going to see, like, oh, see what happened right there.
I'm like, guys, they
The
don't
energy.
end up. They're not together.
Oh
I
my
do find it
gosh.
interesting. Wait, none of the professors are married?
Uh-uh.
Is that like a rule, or
No,
is
it's not.
that
It's,
like just coincidence?
some people have fan theories that some of them are together. Some people have fan theories that like they had spouses and their spouses died. There's a theory I think that Hooch and Pomfrey are together, which kind of makes sense.
Man, Hogwarts is crazy.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah, for real.
Hogwarts after dark. That's why they make the kids stay in the
Yeah,
the rooms.
they're different homes.
All right, I was just curious.
Yeah. That's that's things I've heard about Harry Potter, and then if I don't even remember if that's in the movies, something like that. I think, or maybe it's like they build it up to make you think Hermione and Harry are gonna end up, but then they don't. Also, I don't. Is this being put on the podcast or no? No. Okay.
I'll probably cut it off. So whatever good stuff is in there, I'll throw it in.
One of my favorite scenes is coming up. That's all over TikTok. You know
Oh,
which
the
one it
chess.
is?
No, you, not me, not mine. You.
Oh my word, I love that so much. But my favorite chapter is coming up.
Is that chapter?
No, not that chapter.
The Mirror of Erised?
Do you want me to say it right now?
No.
Eric just wants his own secrets.
I know.
He's like, you guys.
Mark
so
is right
many
now cooking a
secrets.
4-course meal in my my kitchen.
Imagine if you roll the whole tray in here. It's like all these snacks.
Anything from the trolley?
Yeah.
I was just watching a thing. It was like, at what age is it okay to start reading Harry Potter to your kids? He's like, my child's 2. I feel like he's too young for certain things that happen in the later books. And somebody was like, you obviously start reading it to them, or have them start reading it when they're 11. So then they just grow
They
with
age
books.
up. Yep,
Yeah,
that's my take. You read it at 11, and you read 1 book a year
it's great.
up until they're 18. So that's what we're gonna do with you. One book a year.
Imagine. That'd be pretty cool though, as a middle schooler reading about like kids your age experiencing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
That's why, like, when we were growing up with it, I think the first book was written when I was in 3rd grade or 2nd grade, but they started getting huge when I was like in 5th grade, and I started reading them when I was in a little later, but I kind of like was aging up with Harry. So when I started reading, I think it was on like book 4.
And the movies came out when we were in like middle school.
Yeah, middle school and high school.
Okay.
They coincided somewhat.
Because I felt like I was around the age.
Yeah.
When the movies were coming out.
Yeah. It was pretty close. Pretty close to it.
I actually saw one of the movies in theaters. I want to say it was like either the last or the second to last. And I had no idea what was happening because I hadn't read any of the books or seen any of the movies. And I was like, what is going on?
That's great.
Would you like me to hold something for you?
I'm so glad that you feel so comfortable that you just had some oatmeal. That makes me really happy, actually.
My dude just comes back with oatmeal.
Careful.
Yeah, just don't spill. You're good. You can spill, actually. I don't really care. But
thanks for joining us.
You put anything in it? You put like fruit in it? Banana?
No, I put some syrup.
Oh.
Yep.
What syrup? Maple syrup?
Yeah, I found some in the fridge.
Nice. Good.
I think it's gonna be out of place.
You got some frozen fruit you can throw in there if you want.
We're here now.
All right, we are. I keep going to the wrong page. Okay. We're on 10, 11, 12, and 13. We'll knock these ones out quick. There's only one chapter in this chunk that I really want to talk about. Some of the rest are like we'll kind of supplementary. What?
ASMR over here.
That's all right.
We're actually just gonna listen to Mark eat oatmeal for the next 20 minutes.
All right, let's begin. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Eric.
I'm Mark.
I'm Liz.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
You chew loud. They're gonna hear you chewing the whole time.
All right, so we are on chapters 10 through 13, and we're gonna go through these as quick as possible. But chapter 10 is the Halloween chapter. Can you give me a quick summary of this chapter if you remember it?
Halloween. So I don't know if it's a Halloween party that they're at. Yeah, right. And
Halloween feast, yeah.
The main thing this is like the main thing for me that stood out. This whole scene, I guess you could say, is they're at the party, and then Ron or Hermione goes to the basement, or
she goes to just the girls' bathroom.
Oh, the girls' bathroom,
yeah.
right. And then there's a troll that's in there, and
they defeat a troll. And there's a great line at the end of this chapter that I love. But from that moment on, Hermione Granger became their friend. There are some things you can't share without ending up liking each other. And knocking out a 12-foot mountain troll is one of them.
See, guys, they finally liked her.
I know. Well, this is definitely the chapter where they became friends.
Yeah.
Like, before this, they didn't really
But didn't she go to the bathroom because Ron made her cry?
Yeah. So it's like, double-edged sword right there. They became friends. Ron made her cry. Kind of.
But then she like stood up for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, this one, McGonagall kind of buys Harry this broomstick, and they talk about Quidditch a little bit. So I'm just curious, did you like the Quidditch stuff in this book? Because it's very divisive. Some people love it, some people hate it.
Was it the next chapter all about it?
Yeah, the next chapter is the Quidditch chapter, really.
So do you want me to save my thoughts?
Yeah. So fine, Eric. We'll save it for the next chapter.
I hate Quidditch. No, just
So how do you think someone could smuggle a troll into the castle?
Well, they're wizards, so
they are wizards. Yeah,
they can do whatever they want.
And I sometimes I forgot that you actually finished this book, so you actually know that Quirrell smuggled the troll in then. So
I would say, like, if you want me to give my answer to that question, is use a spell that would shrink the troll down. And
I like it.
Throw him into the bathroom and then the troll comes back. You've seen those videos? Yep.
When they take on the troll, Hermione ends up having this weird like mental flub. Maybe not mental flub, but she doesn't tell the truth of what happened when she.
Yeah, I find that really. I always found that really odd. I'm like, she could have just told the truth and she would have gotten in less trouble.
Yes.
I never understood that.
If she had told the truth, would it have gotten points taken away from Gryffindor because the reason she was in the bathroom? That's what I've always assumed.
But she could have just said, like, I went to the bathroom and Harry and Ron realized that I was gonna get attacked.
Yeah. Yep.
The worst they would have said to them is like, "Oh, you should have told the professor."
Yeah.
True.
Tell a professor anytime you go to the bathroom. Come on. Yeah, that part is always weird. I have like weird theories about it, but it's a weird one. She definitely had a mental flub there.
I think the point, right, is that she does something out of her character.
Yes.
To bond the three of them.
Yeah.
That's like my theory on it.
Yeah, and she stands up for them,
Yep,
which
exactly.
bonds them.
Yeah.
Which is weird though, because why would you stand up for people that have been picking on you?
Because she wants friends. She wants to be their friends. They don't want to be her friends. I think she wants to be their friends.
She's secretly in love with Harry.
Yeah, exactly, Eric.
I knew
it. And what do you think about the point system? Because I will rag on this all the time, but for taking down a fully grown mountain troll, they got 5 points each.
I don't fully agree with the whole point system to begin with.
We've got issues.
Because some of these professors are more fond to other houses.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like
McGonagall does not easily give out points.
Yeah.
That's just so like biased, I feel.
Yeah.
Snape, right, when he takes points away, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. He's taking points away because
But he never takes it away from his own.
No, exactly. And that's why I'm like, this is like the dumbest point system I've ever seen in my life.
See, if I was a professor, points. Just to my house, though.
Exactly, yeah. Like, if anything,
no wonder Slytherin's gotten the house cut the last 6 years in a row.
I know.
Yeah, really.
Like,
cheaters.
I have thoughts on...
You should not be allowed to give points to your own house or take away points from your own house. It should only be for the other 3 houses.
Yeah. Also, I want to know how many times Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff won the house cup, because, I mean, they had to have won. It can't just be Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Wait, who's the Hufflepuff
professor? Professor Sprout.
Oh, Sprout. Okay.
I have more thoughts on the point system during the last chapter.
Okay.
That are actually very
All you're going to hear in the audio is Mark eating his oatmeal. The microwave.
That's all right. You can just keep doing that. That's no problem. You will definitely not. It's oatmeal, so it's not going to be like chewing.
I love oatmeal.
Just loud when he eats. Sorry, continue.
No, that was really it.
So you have something like the point system later at the end when is it when Dumbledore gives them all the points?
Yeah. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it so much.
I love that he does that.
Yeah. There is a little bit of like a redemption thing because they lose a ton of points at one point, so like that's like them getting points back, but it's still a little shifty.
Well, this is the one where he like pretends that Slytherin won, right? Yeah. And then he's like, "Just kidding," which is kind of terrible because those are also his students.
Yep.
They may have said it in the beginning. What was Dumbledore in Gryffindor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's awarding his own. He's like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, this point system is so
wizard
trash.
nepotism.
Agreed. The point system is so rigged.
Like, I love
system.
Gryffindor. They should not have won the House Cup. Sorry.
Yep. Agreed.
It shouldn't have happened.
Agreed.
All of their points came from breaking rules.
Legit. And then at the end. Yeah. Oh yeah. He said other points come from breaking rules. Yeah.
And at the end, like logically, this is what happens at the end to adults. There are 3 6th graders that think they're above the rules, and they go try to take on Lord Voldemort himself through a series of obstacles that the teachers have set up so they don't get to this one stone. So no one can get to this one stone. And these 3 6-year-old students think that they're so good that they can kind of walk through all this, and they actually end up getting through it, which tells a lot about the professors and how bad they are at setting up some of these spells. And they take on literally the Dark Lord himself.
Mm-hmm. And then they get rewarded for it.
All I'm saying is, first book, if I'm Quirrell, Harry's dead, bro.
Yeah, right?
This is the real reason your parents didn't want you reading these books. Because the disrespectful children are rewarded.
Do we know why Harry doesn't get killed? Just kidding.
I'm gonna rag on that one. I'm gonna ask you that one every single podcast.
Eric's just been hustling us this whole time, and he's actually like he knows everything about Harry Potter.
All right, next chapter is Quidditch chapter. So let's talk about Quidditch for a bit. Do you like the game of Quidditch?
Love the game of Quidditch.
What position would you want to play?
I would not want to play Harry's position.
Seeker?
That would just frustrate the tar out of me, having to constantly look for this thing, and if I know for a fact I'd never see it.
It'd be the most boring position.
I think it'd be the best position. I would absolutely want to
I think you'd be great at Seekerless.
because I'm not a sports person. I'm not a team player. So I would just want like give me one thing to do and I will do it really well. But don't let me have to do anything else. Just like everyone else look out for me. I'll just do my thing.
I love that.
You guys would be great beaters.
I wanted to be a beater.
Like the brother beaters.
Mm-hmm. I could see you guys doing
I just want to know, like, all right, do you think that catching the snitch should end the game?
I have all sorts of theories about how Quidditch should really function. I think it should end the game, but I think it should be worded less points in non-professional matches. I think there should be a subset of Quidditch that is a snitchless version of Quidditch, where it's just you play for 60 minutes and whoever has the most points wins.
Now, what if there was a virgin
Quidditch player?
Yeah, Harry.
Yeah,
We got him. The chosen one. Where if you catch the snitch, it ends the game, but whoever is ahead at that point automatically wins.
that's what it is.
Or no, because I thought even if you were losing,
he's
and
saying
you
in
caught
other
the
words,
snitch,
if you caught the snitch. Wait, really?
If you catch the snitch, you're awarded 150 points.
No. He's saying if you catch a snitch, it doesn't mean your team wins.
you don't
It
get
just
any
means the
points.
game's over.
It just ends the game, no points.
Oh, no points.
Yeah.
So like, let's say,
That's just when the game.
let's say
ends.
Hufflepuff is beating Gryffindor, and Hufflepuff's up, and I'm the seeker for Gryffindor, and I catch it. Hufflepuff won.
So you have to communicate with your team.
So like,
Okay, I kind of dig that.
It does seem like the other positions are almost pointless if you have a really good seeker.
just put two people out there with 20/20 vision, watch them chase a little bug.
I think maybe the snitch should not come into play until like later in the game.
Yeah. So
Like let them play it out, and then once it gets to a certain point in the game, they release it.
In
They
Muggle
have-
Quidditch, that's what they do.
They have to
Muggle
put
Quidditch,
a,
they have people who dress up as snitches. They put little tails on their butt, and they have to try to.
I've seen that.
There's
I wanna see
really fast
pictures.
people that you actually can try to chase, or there's people who are just good wrestlers, and you have to try to wrestle them to the ground and try to catch the snitch in a legal way.
It should
And
be
they
like-
said they released some like 20 minutes into the game or something like that, and they said initially when they did it, it was on college campuses. And the snitch could go anywhere on the college campus. And so they said the games were so anticlimactic because you'd be watching this game and all of a sudden 3 people would walk over because they had caught the snitch and the game was over. You're like, when did you exactly catch a snitch so we can do the point? They said it was so boring. So they have it within bounds now. You have to like
That's
catch
incredible.
it within this area.
It's
funny.
I think it should be like if they put a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle together, and then you can go catch it. This then would definitely win.
Yeah, whoever puts the puzzle together, the game's over.
That's what
as
I'm
soon as you
saying. This
finish
is
it.
like my sport. Like, just give me something to do by myself while everybody else is running around like crazy.
Beater,
great.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun if you guys were like, we can get a good little quiz team. We need 3 chasers. I'd like to play chaser or keeper. Either of those, I think it'd be fun.
What does the chaser do again? They're just kind of like a field
throw-
player.
They're like the forwards. They like
Yeah.
score all the goals. Yeah,
And
they're
keepers
field
like
player.
defense.
Yep. Eric, you'd be pretty good chaser too, I think. Mark would be out there protecting you with the bludgers. It'd be fun.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's do a meetup with all the listeners.
Yeah. There is another little fact in Quidditch that they the golden snitch, before it was a golden snitch, was called a golden snidget, and it was a bird that they used to release. And they used to catch this bird, but there were so many golden snitches that would die after you caught this because they would grab onto it and it would kill the bird. So they made it a snitch, like a little magical snitch
PETA
instead.
got involved.
I know.
Stop
Exactly.
killing all these birds.
Yep. Wizarding PETA. But yeah, you like the Quidditch chapter?
I do like the Quidditch chapter. Yeah, I love the whole section of, again, they play into Snape, you know.
Yeah.
Of like,
Yep.
he's the one that's like causing Harry to mess up and things like that. And
Yes.
I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense again, right? But then at the same time, part of me was like, that's too easy. Like, it's too easy to start the book off and be like, or book 1 and be like, yeah, Snape's the guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's too easy. So in the back of my head, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm like,
I wish
That's funny as an adult when you're reading it, you're like, this is too easy, but it just makes sense.
right, yeah.
What are you
I
saying?
do wish Gryffindor lost a couple Quidditch
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they didn't win the Quidditch Cup, which is shocking. You don't really realize that.
Right.
But they
It's
don't.
true.
They lost their last match mainly because Harry was in the hospital,
Oh yeah.
and they didn't
That's
win the
right.
Quidditch Cup.
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't win.
Yeah.
You find
That's
that
why
out.
they
Really
don't
didn't
think
find that in
they're-
book
yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't win the Quidditch Cup, Eric. Sorry, a little spoiler, but but anytime Harry's on a field, he pretty much wins.
He gets the
Mhm.
snitch right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he is the chosen one, so.
I did. Yeah.
It is a good chapter, though.
Yeah.
All right. Next chapter is the Mirror of Erised, and this is a really deep chapter. This is a good one. But
Mm-hmm.
give me a quick summary of this chapter.
Mirror of Erised. This is like my favorite chapter from
Yes, I love that it's your
this,
favorite
from this
one.
book. Basically, Harry finds the mirror in a closet.
Okay.
He's trying to hide.
In the classroom, not a closet, but
Oh, in a classroom? I thought he went
Yeah.
into a closet.
he went in the classroom to hide. And
He
found
grew
the
up
mirror.
in a cupboard.
Yeah.
under the stairs.
He's mistaken.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so he finds his mirror. He's just trying to hide because he was trying to sneak around the school.
Mm.
And then when he finds the mirror, he can see his family,
Mm.
his parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
And I loved that chapter.
But you get the impression that he's never seen pictures of his parents before, right? Because he's like describing
So
what
it's
they
the
look
first
like.
time.
I don't think I ever really processed
Well, they
that.
kind of describe it of like he saw these
Mhm.
two people, type of
Yeah.
thing, and then
He
he doesn't
asks.
say,
So
yeah,
He goes,
Interesting.
"Mom,
yeah,
Dad,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and then when he finally realizes that it's them, then he like just doesn't want to leave the mirror.
crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like when this chapter hit, that's when I was kind of like, okay,
Dang.
like, yeah, this is good.
This chapter does progress it into
Mhm.
yeah,
next level of
Mhm.
good writing, because it's like it's not just about this fun little adventure it's on. You're like, wow.
Mhm.
And you think about yourself too. So here's maybe the question for all of you that is probably too personal, so you don't have to answer this. But what would you
What would
see
you
if you were
see
in
in the
front of the mirror?
Ooh.
I remember Danny said this one when I asked him this question, and it was a really astute answer. He goes, "I don't know if I would know what I would actually see until I was in
Yeah.
front of the mirror itself. It's hard to
Yeah.
like have that perception where you would actually fully be able to realize what your heart truly desires, and to be able to like see
Because
that
doesn't
before."
Dumbledore say like it's nothing more and nothing less?
Yeah.
Because I think we
Yep.
would think it's going to be something more.
Yeah,
Like we would think, oh, it's going to be I'm rich and I have
Yeah.
everything that I want
Agreed.
in life. But like that's not a typical desire that
Yep.
we like think of on a regular basis. I don't know.
My
Yeah.
child.
yeah. The dad is coming out right now. Yeah.
Mark delivering the child instead of me.
Yeah, probably actually.
So Liz would see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna second Danny's thought.
Yeah, it would be really. Yeah, it is just difficult. You need
I think
to
like a
be
general what I would see is just somewhere I would be somewhere where I was just like absolutely like at peace and like there was no like turmoil, nothing, just like maybe just on a beach somewhere like
Yeah.
by a lake.
You're a 9 on the Enneagram.
Yes.
There you go.
So I think that would be my like it would be some variation of that, just being somewhere where everything was fine.
Mm. Yeah, that would be nice. I don't know. I really, I'm trying to think of what I would see, and it's hard. But the lines in this chapter are just, it's so well written. It's so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, this was a great chapter.
Yeah.
I really liked this one.
Like, did you even catch? That's your first time reading. Do you know what Erised means?
No, I didn't catch that.
You know what this means? Yeah.
Desire
It's
backwards.
desire backwards.
I never noticed that until
I
you
know,
just
right?
said that.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh.
So the mirror of Erised is a mirror of desire. And then there's an inscription written above it. It says, Erised stra eru, oit ube kafru, oit on wosi. You know what that is?
The desire of
No
your
idea.
I show not your face, but your heart's desire. Isn't that cool?
Wes
you are
likes
right.
it.
Come
What would
here.
you, Wes?
Oh, sound might have got nixed from that one. Oh, no, we're good. Isn't that cool? Like a little inscription on the mirror says
That is
that?
really cool.
I do like that.
Yeah. And there's like one of my favorite lines of all time is in this chapter. It's like a longer one, but it says, he looked in the mirror again. A woman standing right behind his reflection was smiling at him and waving. He reached out a hand and felt the air behind him. If she was really there, he'd touch her. Their reflections were so close together, but he felt only air. And she and the others existed only in the mirror. Harry was so close to the mirror now that his nose was nearly touching that of his reflection. "Mom," he whispered. "Dad?" Harry was looking at his family for the first time in his life. The Potters smiled and waved at Harry as he stared hungrily back at them, his hands pressed flat against the glass, as though he was hoping to fall right through it and reach them. He had a powerful kind of ache inside of him, half joy, half terrible sadness. How long he stood there, he didn't know. The reflections did not fade, and he looked and looked until a distant noise brought him back to his senses. He couldn't stay here. He had to find his way back to bed. He tore his eyes away from his mother's face, whispered, "I'll come back," and hurried from the room. It's so good. It's such good writing. Like he desires it so much that his nose is pressing up against the glass. He's so close to this thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's great.
That whole section that you just read was like more of a very emotional connection, because it was just like you really feel like what Harry's experiencing, which was really cool.
I know, it's so good. I know. And then the last one in this chapter I want to ask is, do you think Dumbledore was being honest with what he saw in the mirror? Because do you remember what he said?
I don't remember.
It's like getting a pair of socks.
Yeah, he sees himself holding a pair of thick woolen socks.
I don't know if that was literally what he saw, or maybe it was literally what he saw, but I think it spoke. I don't know if you want to ask Eric this, but I think that it's almost like he wants his desires to have meaningful connection because he's seen as such like an unreachable person. And so for someone to just like see like, hey, I just got you a pair of socks, or like they just like gave him like something small, instead of being like, he's like, everyone just assumes I want books.
Yeah, exactly. He's like annoyed at the books.
It's almost like he desires that human connection with somebody on a more intimate level.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Hermione desiring friends.
Yeah, for real.
Oh.
Someone to see past the facade. I don't know.
No, I actually think you nailed that. I think because Dumbledore does seem like an unapproachable, like omniscient character, and someone like that, it's hard to like really gain friends and like have people who are really close to you. So I think that's what he desires. We'll talk about this as we go on. But do you think that he was lying to Harry though? Like, what was your take on that, Eric?
So hearing Liz's, I was like, okay, like maybe he does want socks, right? Like maybe that is a genuine thing, because I'd never crossed my mind. At first, I'd be like, no, he's lying. Like, the man who's running Hogwarts wants some socks. Really? Like, that's more what was going through my head.
Yeah.
But hearing Liz's perspective, I mean, that changes the game, and I think that's a very accurate. I think it's a very accurate thought. But I don't know. So maybe.
Yeah,
maybe I'd say he was, from my perspective.
Because it's almost like the socks are a symbol of something bigger.
Right.
Yep. Like maybe he's getting the socks from someone or something like that, or like
or he just like saw somebody like give someone socks at Christmas, and he's like, wow, that would be so nice to just like get a nice pair of socks from someone who cares about me.
Yeah, right. Nothing big, nothing grand, not a great gift, just socks. Yeah. You know, I was thinking about you with some socks. But this is one of my favorite chapters in the whole book. I love this chapter so much. I think it's such a great one.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is what really pulled me in, because I was like, okay, like now you get like the emotional connection to it. Like the rest is like, like you said, like big adventure, right? But then this one had the emotional connection. It was so well written.
Yeah, agreed.
Which was awesome. All
right, last chapter in the section is Nicholas Flamel, chapter 13. Can you give me a quick summary of this one?
To be honest, this one I'm going to need a quick summary for.
Yeah, this one, not a ton happens in this one. They just essentially discover who Nicholas Flamel is. It's like the Christmas stuff happens, and they just, or no, it's post-Christmas, but they just kind of discover who Nicholas Flamel actually is.
This is this the chapter that he gets the cloak?
No. He gets the cloak in the Mirror of Erised chapter, because that's the Christmas chapter. So that's how he gets the Mirror of Erised.
Right. Okay, yeah. Right, and then that's what,
he overhears Quirrell and Snape talking.
Yes.
And then they go try to go to the restricted section of the library with the cloak on, but they don't need it because they find out Nicholas Flamel is on the Chocolate Frog card.
Yes.
The Chocolate Frog card says he's the only known maker of the Philosopher's or the Sorcerer's Stone. So.
Right, okay.
So there's I don't have a ton of stuff in this one actually, but Neville has a more central role in this chapter. But what do you think of Neville? Because he has one where he's like, this is one line that he has. There's no need to tell me I'm not brave enough to be in Gryffindor. Malfoy has already done that, Neville choked. Harry felt in the pockets of his robe and pulled out a chocolate frog, the very last one from the box Hermione had given him for Christmas. He gave it to Neville, who looked as though he might cry. "You're worth 12 of Malfoy," Harry said. It's just a beautiful little line that Harry gives. I love that.
And then Neville repeats it
Exactly.
later. I
Yep.
love that.
I know. Like he's getting his confidence in small little ways.
I think Neville's one of those kids that would get bullied.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that's what they all have in
Yes.
common.
Yeah.
I think all 4 of like the kids, because I consider Neville like one of the core
Yeah.
characters, even though he's not always with them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what they all have in common is they're all kind of outcasts in their own way, in different ways.
Is them being that way, like they're outcasts in their own ways, what makes them courageous Gryffindors?
It might actually.
They've all also
That's a good
suffered,
point.
like they didn't have like none of them had an easy childhood in different ways. Because
Yeah.
like Hermione, like she was in a Muggle family.
Yep.
And with Ron, he like didn't have money growing up.
Mm-hmm.
We learn more about Neville later,
Mhm.
and then Harry, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Neville,
Yeah.
he talks about his grandmother raising him
Yeah,
early
seriously.
on. So.
That's true. That does mention that in this book.
Yeah.
I
His
can
grandmother's
remember how
not
much.
great to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember how much we. Yeah, isn't. Yeah, never mind.
She's a little mean. She's a little
Yeah.
nasty.
Later on, we learn more about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why
I do
Neville's
like-
one of my favorites.
I do like Neville though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At first he does seem kind of like annoying,
Yeah.
but again, like now in this part, like you start to like, okay,
Yeah.
he's not as bad as you
Yeah.
as you
Right.
thought.
He's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got for this one. Give me your favorite character and your favorite moment for these 4 chapters. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about for these ones. All right, favorites.
A favorite chapter for sure, the Mirror of Erised. That was
Yeah.
by far my favorite
Same.
in this
Sticking
whole
with that one.
book. That was my favorite one. In terms of characters, probably have to go with the OG of Harry Potter, just
Nice.
because this one, like again, I really felt the emotional connection aspect from it,
Yes.
and now I have like, now you have like even more sympathy for him, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like I can't imagine being a middle school kid, never seeing your parents, and then seeing that moment, and then you're like asking them if you're my mom and my dad, and they say
Yeah.
yes, and then I just can't imagine what that would be like. Then plus he also got a invisible cloak in this chapter, so like
yeah.
there's just so many great things for Harry in this one, and
I'm sticking with you. Those are great ones. I
Yeah.
love Harry, and I think that the whole chapter of the Mirror of Erised is just my favorite. I think it's
Yeah.
so well written.
that's me.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing, but specifically the moment between Dumbledore and Harry at the end.
Yeah, it was a great.
And then I
moment.
think maybe Dumbledore would be my favorite.
Ooh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I feel like this is the beginning of when you see a little bit more of like, I just picture him and Harry like sitting together and like you see that more
Yeah.
personal side of him come out.
Mm-hmm.
There's an illustration that Jim Kay does in the illustrated versions, which is my favorite illustration ever, and it's
Where
just
they're
him.
sitting- yeah.
Him sitting on the ground, crisscrossed,
Yeah.
and Harry's sitting there. Harry's kind of looking at his lap, and Dumbledore is looking at him with like sympathy, and it's beautiful. It's a great
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
I don't know who my favorite character would be. Probably Harry, if I had to go with it. But I think my favorite moment is where they go and protect Ron and Hermione protect Harry during the Quidditch match.
Oh yeah, great
Oh, that
friendship
is a
right there.
good
Yeah.
moment.
Because I think, and there's even like little things. So like with the chocolate frogs, like it says it's from a gift that Hermione had, last one that Hermione
Yeah.
had. So like, they exchange gifts, right? Like you see there's like these little background things of the 3 of them really solidifying this like friendship that they're getting. Like you're
cute.
seeing, because Harry and Ron have, but they're kind of just like 2 idiot boys. So like Hermione joining the other, making the dynamic 3 like kind of a solid thing.
Mm-hmm.
We see a little bit more in these chapters, I think.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
I like
awesome.
that you're seeing it develop.
Yeah, agreed. It is great. I'm with you on that. All right, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Reader.
Thanks.
I am never gonna get see that. That's so great. All right, you guys want to knock out the last 4 and then be done with
I
this?
need to
Yeah, take a bathroom
close
break.
up on you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
shut the door though.
Should I still leave?
No, you can hang out. Me and Liz are gonna go in the bathroom. We're gonna talk about Harry Potter, and you guys can just chill here.
Oh man.
And Mark's gonna finish his oatmeal real loud.
Everybody's trying to be so quiet. Let's turn the water on in there so you can't hear.
Yeah, of course. I know.
Smart.
Tons of people do that.
Smart. I just let everybody hear.
Mark goes, shh, 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 everyone, quiet.
Listen. Smoke me went right to the back of my throat.
I thought that was a fake.
I love oatmeal. Oatmeal's probably become one of my favorite foods.
Oatmeal is one of those that just, it like sticks with you. You have a bowl of oatmeal, and I'm like, I feel like I'm good for the day.
Mm-hmm. Telling you, 1 spoonful of peanut butter, 2 spoonfuls of syrup.
You used Wes's peanut butter?
No, I didn't.
Was there another peanut butter down there? Okay,
There's a bunch of peanut butters in there, but I just use syrup.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I could do just syrup all day long. Me and Liz went out for breakfast the other day. Got syrup, some Bob Mills, oatmeal, the good stuff.
Ooh, Bob,
Brown,
that is the good stuff.
Brown sugar. It was gluten free.
Dude, that is
I'm
the good
not
stuff.
gluten free, but Liz is, so she could have eaten it.
A lot of oats are gluten free.
Well, these were specifically.
Yeah.
These were specific gluten-free ones. All right, let's knock out this last one, and then we'll be done. You guys are crushing this recording. We are 2.5 hours
I mean, if you
deep in
guys,
this.
you know,
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
need to keep meeting once the baby comes, I can take a break for a few
Yeah.
episodes.
You don't. Yeah, we'll figure out all the little extra stuff. I know your lady's reading it for the first time, so she ever wants to come to a recording, talk about Harry Potter.
That'd be fun.
If you want her to,
Sub-
I'm sure she'd be down.
She could sub for Liz anytime Liz with the
There
baby.
you go.
or
She
something.
can be my alternate.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's funny because she's reading, and then the other night we met somebody else who was
There's someone else who's reading it
for
from.
the first time.
Yeah.
But they're
They're
talking
talking
to
to Dan. They're saying that they're reading it for the first time because of.
Oh, because of the podcast.
Yep. So they're reading while watching.
Who?
Kaylee?
Yes.
Wickersham?
Wickersham. I don't know if you know them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no way.
Yeah,
Is she reading for the first time?
that's what she
Mm-hmm.
said.
So Dan told her.
Get on the list.
He said, "Don't say anything. Just
Yeah.
take it down." And he's like, "We'll quiz you." Or he said, "Well, we have a lot of questions for you."
That's interesting, actually.
So there's a bunch of people who are just reading now for the first time.
I know there are. There's
Oh,
inspired
you.
a few first-time readers.
Bookmark. I was
Yeah,
like, "Where's the rest of the
Melissa's
book?"
been waiting. She's like, "Let me know when you guys start book 2."
Really?
She's like, "I'm waiting this.
Let's
to
go. I'm pumped. We have some Canadians in here wondering if it's real maple syrup or table syrup.
Real.
Real. We only go for the real stuff. Come on.
You know, I was just talking to Mark about this the other day. I grew up, my grandmother would always make me pancakes. And when I was older, I like ordered pancakes or ate them at someone's house. And I was like, what is wrong with this maple syrup? It's disgusting. And I didn't realize there was a difference between like real maple syrup and like the
Yeah,
store-bought
fake
stuff.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It is gross. Once you
I
go-
literally think the first ingredient's like corn syrup, right?
Yeah. I don't think there's probably like no maple syrup in fake maple syrup.
Yeah. It's gross. They just made it brown.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
I'm Eric.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Liz.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. We are on chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17, the culmination of Harry Potter and the Sorcerers or Philosopher's Stone, however you want to say it. So let's speed through these chapters. Eric, give me a quick summary of chapter 14, the Norwegian Ridgeback. Norbert.
Well, that's actually my nickname. It's the Norwegian Ridge. Fun fact: I am Norwegian. So
I'm actually going to start calling you that, the Norwegian Ridgeback.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no. So this is another cool chapter where we see our boy Hagrid get a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty much,
Hagrid
like,
seems
the main
very
thing.
good with animals.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love him for it.
Which brings me quick question: does he talk to animals?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Interesting. Okay.
But do you think that he talks to animals? Do you think he talks to dragons? He can communicate and speak with dragons?
No, I don't actually, because the way he handles this one, I don't think so.
Really? You don't think he handles the dragon very well?
No, right? I don't think he did a great job.
The thing is, a lot of people talk to animals.
It's just
True.
We talk to animals.
Can we hear
Yeah,
them?
I talk to Wes all the time.
Accurate.
Sorry, that was an off.
But can they talk
No,
back?
that's
Go for it.
a great question. I think Hagrid isn't necessarily bad at them. I think he's doing the best that he can possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any other human would do better than Hagrid, to be honest.
Talking about like a muggle, or are you
Yeah.
talking about...
No,
Any
like
wizard.
a wizard. I don't know if a witch or
Mm.
wizard could do better than Hagrid raising a dragon.
True, yeah, because Hagrid's a big man.
Yeah.
So
It's a
that makes
big
sense.
man.
Except for
but-
maybe the guy, Newt, what's his name?
Newt Scamander.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could probably do it really well.
Probably do better.
Yeah, he'd probably do better, honestly. Agreed on that.
Also, isn't Weasley a dragon person?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, he works the dragons in
Is that
Romania.
Bill or Charlie?
Charlie.
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 And the Dragon Factory.
Also, the dragon's diet consists of brandy and chicken blood. So I'm just curious how many chickens Hagrid had to slaughter in order to keep this thing
Maybe
alive.
he doesn't. Maybe he just drains a little bit of blood from them. You know, when you get like blood
Alive,
drawn?
yeah.
I don't know.
That's how he keeps them alive. He just does a little bit of a blood draw and squirts it out and sews it up or brands it up.
on
or
to the
something.
next.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a ton that happens in this chapter other than the dragon stuff. But the next one is a bit more of like the insane, interesting chapter, which is the Forbidden Forest.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens in that one?
So it's funny because from this chapter to the end is where I was like, the mirror chapter really pulled me in, but
Yeah.
from this one on, I was like things were getting like
Yeah,
intense.
like you didn't
And
wanna stop reading?
Yeah. This is the point where I was like, I can't put it down. Type of thing.
Nice.
But essentially in this chapter, this is where we see the main crew gets detention,
Mm.
and their detention's to go into the forest with Hagrid and
Yep.
who was the other?
It was Hagrid, Neville, Draco, and Ron.
Right, and who was the other guy though?
Or no,
That
it was no Hermione, right? Ron was out because Ron was in detention, or Ron was in the hospital.
He was
wing?
in the
I
hospital.
don't know if
Ron was in the hospital wing.
Yeah,
And
Ron
so
was in
it
the
was,
hospital.
it was Hermione. In the movies, it's not Neville and it's Ron. But in the books, it's Neville.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But who's the other guy? It's Hagrid and someone else, right?
Oh, it's
Fang.
his
Fang.
dog or his.
Fang is a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a dog. Oh, your boy thought there was a person the whole time.
Dude, I cannot tell you how many people thought he was either a boar or like an actual human being.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
It's
crazy.
so funny.
Rather than a boar.
Do they not
hound, it's a
say
dog.
it explicitly in the book?
No, they just say a boarhound. But I don't think Americans really ever really know what a boarhound is. So in the
Wow.
movies, he's a mastiff, which isn't a boarhound.
But in the book, it does say that. I mean, if it's a person, I mean, which you could miss this pretty easily, I guess. He is barking, and when they open the door, it does say that he licked Ron all over his ear. So if it is a person, that's a freaky person, you
dealing with some
know,
strange
licking
people.
a middle school
Version.
child.
Eric zoned out during that part.
Well, no, because he says that they split, right?
Yeah.
So he takes
Yeah.
two, and then he sends
Right.
two. So I always
You
thought,
probably
like,
thought it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Draco said, "I want Fang."
Yeah.
That's probably why. Like the way
Well-
they talk about him, it's almost like he's a person.
Yeah, and you think like I guess the first time they're introduced to Fang was chapters before, and a lot happens between, so you could forget that. Yeah.
And it is, to be honest, completely crazy that their first attention as sixth graders is to go into a forbidden forest that they've never been in before to find a creature that slayed a pure creature that Hagrid has never seen before and doesn't really know what's happening. And their job in their detention is to go find this. And so the first thing that Hagrid does is, all right, we're going to split up. I'm going to send two sixth grade
it's
kids
pretty
with a dog
irresponsible.
out into the woods that they've never been in before to go find this creature that I have no idea who this thing is. And this thing is scary.
You know, I've never really thought about it.
It is so irresponsible.
but also fits Hagrid. So
Yeah,
well.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But who put Hagrid in charge of detention?
McGonagall.
Yeah.
That dude has the weirdest roles at the school.
Like Hagrid's one of those people, like you trust him but you don't at the
Yeah.
same time. Like you trust him with everything, but he's like a blabber. He's gonna give things away. And it's the same thing. Like he's not thinking through things logically, but you know he will like he'll kill for you. Like if he's loyal to you, that's you want him to be loyal to you.
Yeah. I want like you see the relationship between all of the professors, right? Like I could see, McGonagall and Albus have like a relationship, right? Like they're friends.
Eric thought they were more than friends.
The
it has not been confirmed nor denied.
I just like Hagrid he doesn't live in the castle, right? He lives out by himself. So it's like his friends are, well, Albus, obviously, who I think he sees almost as a father figure.
Yep.
And then Harry, Ron, and Hermione are his homies. So
yeah.
I think in his head, he's sending his friends out into the
he really is
detention with friends.
Yeah, like Hagrid is a pretty good father figure to Harry, to be honest, but he isn't great in that he's
more like the fun uncle.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Like he does have certain responsibilities, but others he just throws out the door and just like thinks Harry's a little bit too adept, I think, at this moment. But it's wild. That part is so wild to me. But they meet after like the whole weird thing happens in the forest. What did you think of that on your first like read? You saw this like weird creature drinking unicorn blood.
I feel like this is where I guess you can say things get dark.
Yeah.
Right. I honestly really enjoyed it because I think it really like painted the picture of why the forest is forbidden. But yeah, I don't know.
What did you think about the centaurs? So like after that, this weird creature was seen, and again, like sometimes you're not really thinking through like what is this weird creature about? You're just like, oh, that's weird, and it's just like you're almost watching it in your mind. But when they meet with the centaurs after, what do you think of the centaurs? Did you like them, or do you think they're just like a little weird? Because they kept saying, oh, Mars is bright tonight. They kept talking about the stars, about like these things. It's fun little fact for you. Mars is the bringer of war. So what they're essentially saying is that war is coming because Mars is bright tonight. Pretty cool.
So is that in terms of saying like Voldemort is coming?
Probably, yeah. Because at the end of the book, you see Voldemort comes, and so they're thinking like violence and war is coming.
Look at that.
Look at that.
What do you know?
I know.
No, I think that obviously it's a little weird. I mean, who says that kind of stuff, right? But at the same time, I think they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are weird. They're ethereal, but they have this one line that they say, always the innocent are the first victims. So it has been for ages past, so it is now. I think that's such a great line.
Which, put an equal sign at the end of that. It's Harry Potter.
Wow.
That's deep, right?
So you think...
That's good.
Do you think that Harry Potter is a victim here? Do you think that he's going to die?
No, but I think that's the intention, right?
Oh. Yeah, I think so.
Not that Harry Potter's going to die.
Yeah. But that he's like saying this about Harry Potter?
Uh-huh.
Interesting. That's a good take. I like that, Eric.
I think I did get the right version.
All right, so let's go through the next chapter, which is 16, through the trapdoor. What is a quick summary of this one?
Through the trapdoor, this is them trying to get past the three-headed dog.
Yeah,
and
Fluffy.
Can I pet your dog?
And this is where they're trying to now get to the secret door to get down into the chamber.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they get through that, and they just have to get through all these little like obstacles that come.
Yeah. Yep.
One weird thing is they're wondering what Dumbledore does on a day-to-day basis. Maybe that's one of my questions for you. What does Dumbledore do on a day-to-day basis?
That's a great question.
Yeah, right? What does he do?
I feel like he does so much more than people realize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's, like, everyone just sees him as, like, the head of the school. But, like, they wanted him to be the Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly he's been involved in, like, political things.
Yes.
And, like, things that are happening. But
he's the type of guy that you'd think that you would never get a chance just to even see or talk with, type of thing. That's why when he talks to Harry Potter, it's like, I feel like it's a bigger deal than...
He seems to be, like, everywhere always, too. Like, he always knows what's happening.
He's,
even
like,
if
omnipresent in a weird way.
Yeah, in a weird way. And then I think, like, I won't say anything, but in later books, we realize he's doing a lot of, like... Behind the scenes adventures on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say he just probably looks in the mirror The socks.
Just takes a nap.
Yeah. Well, he actually says that from experience because he said men have wasted away in front of the mirror. It's not good to dwell on dreams and forget to live. That's what he tells Harry in that chapter. Maybe he knows that from experience because he's wasted away in front of the mirror, looking at the mirror for a really long time. So
Lots of socks that he got.
yeah, I know, for real.
Got a whole collection.
But in this moment, what out of all the tests that they went through, which one was your favorite?
To get to the trap door or
Yeah.
in the chamber?
To get through, no, because they don't really go through tests before the trap door except for Fluffy.
Right.
And then they go through the trap door and they have to go through, what are the tests that they have? So they have the...
Oh, so the...
Once I make my move.
That's my favorite part. I don't know if this is the right order, but the first... Actually, no, the first one, when they hit the ground, that's when like the vines start to like wrap around them. There's that one. Then I don't know if this is the next one. This is where I lose track. But the keys on the wing, or that have wings.
Yep.
Then they have to play a nice game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to get through the fire with the potions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Or am I missing one?
There was one-ish. It's a troll that was already knocked out.
Oh, that was already knocked out. Yeah.
Was
But
the
then-
potions in the movie?
No.
Okay, I was
would
gonna
love
say
if it was,
because
yeah.
I was like, I didn't
Yeah,
remember
I
that
understood
in the
why they
movie.
cut it out. 'Cause it's just a logic puzzle. You can't have like Hermione sitting there for like 20 minutes being like,
Well, because I liked how it was that each kid needed to do one of the tasks.
agreed.
So they cut
Yeah.
out that aspect of it.
Yeah.
The chess game was fun.
Mm.
They all had a role in that.
Yeah. That's like the most famous movie scene
It
in
really
all
is.
of Harry Potter right
It
there.
really is.
Yeah, except now I can't. Like every
I
time
know.
it comes,
You can't
You
like.
just see the
I'm like,
dancing
I'm
and-
dying laughing.
Yeah. It's all these
Or
weird
quoting.
people making all these
Yeah.
weird like little scenes for it.
But I guess Hermione got them out of this devil's snare, technically.
But
But
yeah.
Yeah.
still, I feel like it wasn't playing to like her
Mm-hmm.
strengths.
Yeah. Which one is your favorite out of all of them? The chess?
I think the chess is the coolest one, but I also really liked the keys.
Yeah.
I think that's just a cool thing, and it makes sense too because like of course now Harry's the seeker, so of course he's gonna find the key, right? But no, I thought that was a really. I think chess is the coolest one, but also I think the scene has kind of tainted my thoughts because that one's just so funny now.
I know. That's the only thing
But-
that I think of when I see this scene now.
Right. That's
And it's funny that you know these scenes so much and you finally read it in the books and you're like, oh, it kind of matches up in the books as well.
Yeah. So the chess scene and definitely the key one I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Which one is your guys' favorite?
Chess.
Yeah, probably the chess.
I mean, I remember even the first time. I still remember watching that scene for the first time. Like I know exactly where I was.
It's
I remember
also,
thinking
like,
how cool it was.
It's Ron's moment to shine, and he doesn't
I
get a lot of
know.
those.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a
that's
ton
He's
of
like,
those.
guys, I can actually do this, and
One time
it
they
shows
climbed
why
it.
he's in Gryffindor
Mhm.
too, because he is super brave.
Agreed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It is great. But after they finish this, they go and they meet the man with two faces, which is chapter 17. What do you think of that chapter? Give me a little quick summary.
Great chapter. So
Yeah.
that's this is where we're seeing all those tests, right? We're seeing them get through all the different not the different chambers, but
Mhm.
the different obstacles they have to get through. And then the end, your boy was expecting to see Snape standing there.
I know.
I was fully expecting
Dun,
it.
dun, dun.
Plot
But then again, I
twist.
was like, that's too easy.
It's Quirrell. It was Quirrell the whole time.
Yeah, and then it was that dude. Which then also at the same time, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's just so crazy. But
It all like fits together at the end, but
and it's funny because now, right? So like finishing this book, like that's a great build up to end the book, right?
Mm.
But it almost seems like to me now, it's like okay, like that was it. Like that's it. Like you're
Oh,
just trying to get the stone,
We are just getting started.
right? But that's the thing that like kind of hits me is like, although this book is all about getting the stone, like it's okay. Like great, he got the stone,
Mm.
and then the school year ended. So it's like everything came to an end,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, like that was great. What's next? You know, but I know
Mhm.
there's a lot more to come. But it almost
Yeah.
just seems like that's it.
This was like the pilot episode.
Yeah. But I love this. This chapter was like the most. I mean, obviously, but it's the most adventurous chapter.
Yeah.
And this one, I really felt like I could see myself, like, with them trying to get through it, type of thing.
Yeah. It's a
Which is
great
pretty
chapter.
cool.
I know.
Yeah.
There are like weird things that happen in this. So, what did you think of Voldemort when he first like popped up?
That was a very interesting way to just pop.
Yeah.
You gonna say that?
When you're done.
Oh, you can go.
This is going back to earlier in the book, when they're describing Quirrell's like, it's in the chapter where they're having their classes for the first time, and they're like, he has garlic everywhere because of the vampires, and then I forget if it's Fred or George say that the back of his head smells a little funny, and that he must have garlic in there too. Yep. So we know that Voldemort smells.
There's one of my favorite parts in the Christmas chapter, the Mirror of Erised, the beginning of that chapter. Fred and George are enchanting snowballs to hit the back of Quirrell's head. So really,
that's incredible.
That's right.
They're rebelling, and they're pelting Voldemort
in the face.
That's incredible. I didn't realize that.
That's so good.
But there's this one line that Quirrell says. He says, "There is no good and evil. There is only power, and those too weak to seek it." What do you think of that line? Do you think that's like a summary of this book?
Repeat it one more time.
There is no good and evil. There is only power, and those too weak to seek it.
Yeah, I think so. Because, right, there's no good in evil, like it says, right? Nothing good comes from doing bad things. Mm-hmm. But you look at things today and like what people do to get power, they don't do the right thing typically. Yeah. Typically they're doing things. I mean, yeah, there's situations where you do things correctly and things happen, right? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying like a lot of people will go to the extreme of doing things that are not good to gain power in things that they want. So I think that's...
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just me being so skeptical, but that's what, I mean, typically from the experiences I've seen and people I know, that they don't typically do the right thing to gain power in certain things.
For sure. I feel like if you're going for power, usually you're not doing it in like a perfectly ethical or moral way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that could summarize this entire series.
Yep.
It's just like the struggle for power.
Yeah, 100%. That's like really what this is.
Now, I do think it's interesting because I think the movie even does this, but Quirrell is portrayed as like this weak,
stumbling,
like, stuttering. He stutters, right, and then that stops. So like I wonder what he was like as a Death Eater. You know, like I wonder.
He wasn't a Death Eater.
He wasn't.
No,
because I've always assumed that he was
simply,
or was he under?
He was a weird one. He encountered this guy.
Which Death Eaters are followers of Voldemort.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with a theory in the second book that's gonna be about Quirrell a little bit. That's gonna be a little weirder, but Quirrell just was an ambitious young wizard who, on his travels, happened to cross Voldemort. So you know, Eric, you remember in the beginning when Hagrid says he's talking about Voldemort, and he's like, I reckon he's out there somewhere. You know, like he's not dead. He's not done away with.
Yeah.
Quirrell was in the time when, in between Harry's parents' death and between like him coming back and possessing Quirrell's head. So I guess he would be like technically like a Death Eater, but he's not a Death Eater, really in the perfect sense of it, because he just was traveling, and then he heard of like rumors of Voldemort, so he went and pursued that, and Voldemort then essentially became a parasite for him. And he's like coexisted on the back of Quirrell's head, and then he was gaining life by drinking unicorn blood, and he was looking for a way to come back, and the Sorcerer's Stone was the way that Voldemort could rise back and have his own body and could possess his own body and could be like fully back in power. So this is like a half version of Voldemort. He wasn't really like actual Voldemort, as you know, because it was just Quirrell.
What was he manifested as when Quirrell saw him?
That's a great question.
Was it kind of like the creature?
Yeah, like a creature, like a almost like just a weird soulish thing.
Yeah.
We'll get into that more toward the end of the books, with what he actually was. But yeah, it's a weird little note. He probably wasn't a Death Eater. He was just an ambitious wizard.
Yeah, I've always just like wondered and assumed that he was always evil.
Yeah. He just had ambition. And he talks about
He
how
was a
he was
Slytherin.
good with trolls. Yeah, he was a Slytherin. Exactly. I know. Probably. I think he was a Slytherin actually. So Slytherins are always just bad, you know. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So
Slytherins we love you.
was everything he did as professor, like, you know, he says the troll comes in, he passes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it all is it all fake? Is it all facade?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too.
The stutter, I think he's putting on a facade to look weak, but really, he's a very strong and adept person.
Or is he nervous because Voldemort
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, attached to his
It's
head?
probably, yeah.
And the other question is
Would say.
did he truly fool Dumbledore? Or
That's
do
a
you
great
think
question.
Dumbledore knew the whole time? And just was keeping his enemies
Snape
close.
was suspicious of him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you would assume that Snape would have mentioned that to Dumbledore
Why?
because he's a professor at the school.
Mm.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. That's like I mean, I know different theories for why people say that kind of stuff, but Dumbledore is a strange character. Like, what did you think of Dumbledore's discussion with Harry at the end of this book? There's a few things that he says that are just sort of like kind of interesting. He talks about like even the idea of he left the school at a certain time during the end of the school year, and then all of a sudden he has this sudden urge to kind of go back. He was going to London, I think, or something like that, and then he like turns around and comes back to Hogwarts because he feels like he needs to come back to Hogwarts. So he seems like he's, I guess, like has like extrasensory perception or something like that. That he knows things that are going on in the wizarding world that like other wizards don't. But why do you think that he knew of all Quirrell's things before it was happening, and why wouldn't he put a stop to it right away? Or do you think he just didn't know and he was kind of fooled?
I don't know. Do we know what Quirrell was like before his stutter, before all of that kind of stuff?
Harry meets him in the beginning of the book,
That's right. He does meet him. Yeah.
and he doesn't have the stutter and he doesn't have the turban yet.
I would think then Dumbledore would have some type of suspicion, right? I mean, if you're on top of your teaching staff,
Yeah, right.
and
No,
all of a sudden,
I think it was all calculated.
But if he doesn't have the turban, what's hiding the face on the
He
back of his
didn't
head?
have Voldemort yet.
Right. So it happened between.
Yep.
That's what you're saying. I thought you. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So like on his travels, he was traveling.
So he
during the
already
time-
had the job at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Before.
Mhm.
So Dumbledore wouldn't have been a thing for him to even know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
But I wonder if he grew suspicious of him during the school year.
And that's yeah.
I think he did, and I think
I
he
would
was
think so.
letting it play out a little bit
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
I would think so. I
to
mean,
gain more information because he
Yeah.
was already suspicious that Voldemort was not completely gone.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the way Dumbledore is, you'd think he'd have some type of suspicion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Ooh, someone says a Quirrell was actually a Ravenclaw.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. What did you think? Like last few little tidbits of this one. We like Dumbledore. He gives Harry like a full deep dive on a bunch of different things that happen. But he says this line. It's a really beautiful line. Your mother died to save you. If there is one thing Voldemort cannot understand, it is love. He didn't realize that love as powerful as your mother's, for you, leaves its own mark. Not a scar. No visible sign. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. It is in your very skin. That's a great line. That's so good.
So that's the answer to why Harry.
Well, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that earlier. That really, I don't think it was about Harry being chosen. I think it was more about his mom more than anything. She's the real MVP.
Yep. His mom loved him, and that sacrifice protected Harry in some way. It was in his very skin.
Mm.
The scar.
The scar.
Not the scar. It says not the scar.
I know.
The skin that is in
Exactly.
the shape of a lightning bolt.
maybe we'll see. How rigged is the point system? No, that's the real question.
Oh, that junk is so rigged. I can't. How do you go from being down was like 150 points, and he announces announces that Slytherin had the most points, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, he adds everybody. Oh, we're tied. Oh, just by the way, I'm gonna give Neville some other points too. Like what?
This is more proof that Eric is a Slytherin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're gonna take that test. You gotta take it today.
So yes, right. Like Harry goes and does all this stuff, and they all go and they save the world. You know, essentially at this point. So, and if Harry was in a different house, would that house have been the?
I want to answer yes.
Question. Yeah, I think so.
What's the reason why Neville gets the points at the end?
For standing up to.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your friends, or a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemies, but a greater deal of courage.
You know, it's great, but like big whoop, you're gonna give somebody the winning points to the house cup because he stood up for his friends.
Right,
and he got 10 points for doing that. Where when they took down a fully grown mountain troll, they got 5 points each.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not a perfect system.
That's why I was saying like the rules that you announced before. Of like how
you shouldn't be able to give to your own house.
Exactly. Yeah, like I agree with that. I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that my man Dumbledore is just tossing points specifically to Gryffindor and not other people for being nice to people, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is a little wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is a little wild.
But I'm glad Gryffindor won.
Yeah.
I am glad Gryffindor won. Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, I think they should have just won simply because they stopped Voldemort.
Yeah, agreed.
But
they should have just automatically.
Yeah. But look how many rules they broke.
I know.
Right.
It's just crazy. I know. I don't know.
That's good. Anything else in this chapter you guys had before we wrap it up?
The ending chapter?
Yeah.
No. I like the way she closed it out at the end of the school year.
I know. It's great.
So now it's like, and maybe I'll find this out as we go, but it's there's 7 books, but is the next book now like starting with like another school year kind of?
Yeah, every book is like a school year pretty much.
Okay. I'm excited for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I will say, something I've always wondered is why Harry always goes back to the Dursleys.
We find that out later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I'm
surprised.
That's good. I don't remember.
That's great. I can't wait till we get there.
There is a reason.
Yeah. We'll come back. We'll come back to that one, Mark. Hold on to that one. All right. Give me favorite of these chapters. Favorite character and favorite moment.
Favorite chapter, I think, for me is the last chapter. I just like the adventure of they finally figure out what's down there. Like, they finally get past the dog. They can finally go through all the obstacles, and that's just like an entertaining thing. And again, you kind of feel like you're like there with them getting through everything. So I really liked that. And then favorite character in this section of chapters, I'd probably say I love Ron. Ron's like definitely a favorite, but I think I'm gonna have to give this one to Harry.
Yeah.
On these.
Yeah.
He was incredible during these chapters.
I'm gonna give it to Dumbledore. I think Dumbledore is great in the end. Harry, I do want to give it to Harry because his like stepping into that room, like he has a lot of courage, a lot of bravery. So I think he's great. But I do love Dumbledore. The information that he gives him, all the lines that he says at the end are just really profound, really beautiful. He gives Harry like a little bits of information on his past and his upbringing and what really happened with Voldemort. So I think that's really valuable. I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dumbledore too.
Nicholas Flamel. No.
Not bad.
Well, I don't know if I had a single favorite chapter in the first book. I definitely really enjoy the first few chapters just for the development of the Wizarding World, like being introduced to the to Hogwarts and like hearing all the little things about all the corridors and like so. I love that. I love like world developments when you start reading a book, especially knowing you're diving into a series where like even though it's for the most part just Hogwarts, I mean obviously the world opens up a bit as you keep reading, but this is a place I think people have fallen in love with, and like this is a place I in reading have always wanted to experience. So I love that development. Favorite character in this book? Probably Dumbledore or Harry. Those are like the two.
Yeah.
I really do. Again, it's a lot of introductions. So I do love Hagrid and I love Ron and everybody except for Draco Malfoy and the
Dursleys and Voldemort and Quirrell and Snape.
Voldemort isn't that bad yet. He's just the back of a head.
He's misunderstood.
No, actually, I know. My favorite characters are even from the very beginning were Fred and George.
Yeah, they're great.
I love when they congratulate Harry on getting on the Quidditch team, and same sentence, same thought. They're like, so and so is gonna show us another secret passageway out of the castle. Pretty sure it's the one by the statue that we found first year. I love that they're beaters too.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
They're so good. Fred and George are like two of my favorite characters in this whole book. But
even when Harry loses points, that's Ron's comforting thing.
I know.
Fred and George
have already lost tons, so don't worry about it. I know. Don't sweat it. I know. It's so good. They're great. I'm excited for you to keep going in this and see like what your favorite characters are, how your favorites change, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be fun to see your progression through the book. So
I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going.
I know. Well, let's plug on chat on book 2. We'll see how far we get, and we'll keep plugging away. But thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers.
Thanks. Gets better every time.
I know. All right. Wow, you guys, that was a slog. You guys crushed that. Nicely done.
That was fun.
We'll definitely break some of the books up a little bit easier after this, so we don't have like almost 4-hour recording sessions. But
you good?
Yeah.
That was great. You guys did awesome. Well done.
Hogwarts.
All right, everyone. I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you guys soon. I have Danny, Jen, and Kristen coming in 2 hours, and we're gonna do some more of the last book. So it's a very Harry Potter day today. Thanks. All right, guys. I will see you probably in a bit with everyone on the stream. Bye.